Hello, I'm out here at the Battle of Yorktown. This is where everybody fought each other around. You know, all the Brits and the Americans. When the Americans were like, "Fuck you, Brits, we're Americans," and they were like, "Nuh-uh," and we were like, "Yeah-huh," and they were like, "Okay." That all happened right here. Well, I don't think the war ended here, but you know, Hamilton fought here. Fucking stuff happened here. It's a place of historical significance. I might be looking a little bit scruffy this morning. That's because I was camping just last night. Bird and I woke up at 4 in the morning so we could get ready and I could get him to work at 5 in the morning. And then I went back to camp and there was rain incoming. I would have recorded myself packing up camp, but it started raining and I was getting really worried that I was going to get rained out. So I packed up quickly and I headed to the nearby Yorktown battlefield where it doesn't seem to be raining yet here. I don't know if the rain is heading in this direction or heading in the other direction. Now that I think about it, I probably shouldn't get too far away from the car, but I have just kind of been walking out into this field. This ancient battlefield. Ancient's the wrong word. Historical battlefield. I'm by myself, you know, Bird's at work. Dropped him off. And I'm not trying to head home because it's a long drive there and back. I have just stumbled upon a cannon. Yep. All right. So this cannon here would have been firing over the ramparts, I guess. The rocket's red glare, bomb bursting in air, would have sent proof to the night that somebody was there. So this is what you see over this rampart. So big field, people are coming. They hit this ridge and they're just getting fucking cannon bombed from behind this ridge. Would you run towards a ridge that you knew had a cannon behind it, firing indiscriminately into the crowd? Much less 6 cannons? I certainly would not. And that's why I am not a soldier. Instead, I'm an internet soldier. Or maybe more of like an internet president. Gathering generals for an internet shit fight. I'm glad we don't have to fight real wars here anymore. Look, there's somebody running with their dog, you know? This is what peace looks like. There are countries in the world right now that I would be terrified to cross this field for fear that it was full of mines. They didn't have mines yet during the Revolutionary War, so I'm not worried about it. Also, this place is very heavily maintained. In fact, there's a big tractor back at the entrance where I came in. Crisis courses, bars. No, I would not. Yeah. No, fuck that. Fuck all that. I ain't fighting. I ain't dying for nobody. I'm trying to live as long as humanly possible. That's my only goal in life. Do more of it. How do you do that? And keep your wits about you, you know? Keep learning new shit. Stay ahead of the curve. Figure out what battlefields you can walk through and what battlefields are full of mines. I think I can walk through any old internet battlefield. You know why? Because the internet is dead. The internet is a carcass. The internet is just a playground for... The internet's like a ghetto, basically. Well, not even a ghetto, not like a, what's the better word for it? When there's a place that's just abandoned and so it's full of like bums, a hideout. The internet's a hideout at this point. Like everything it was built for, all the important people that built it, they've all moved on or died. So like, it's just a place for people who like want to, you know, live in like an abandoned building and spray paint all over the walls. Like that's what the internet is now. Crack house, yeah, that's a good word for it. A trap house. The internet is one big trap house. We probably should have figured that out when Chapo Trap House became like the biggest. That's what that show was called, right? Or am I getting the name wrong? That like big lib podcast that spawned Cumtown. Cumtown should have been the signal that the internet was dead. It should have been like, okay, this is just a playground now. But you know, I think a lot of people delusionally believe that there's more depth to the internet than there is. But the truth is, it's just a place to play pretend and frolic around and be gay. If you're not being gay and you're on the internet and you're not gay, I don't know really what the point is for you. I guess to run away from how gay you are by going into some place where people can't see your real self. You know, you could pretend like you're way less faggy than you are in real life on the internet, or way more faggy than you are in real life on the internet. I've seen it both ways pretty commonly, you know. Personally, I just film myself at all times, so it's really up to you to decide exactly how faggy I am. Like, whatever is your Richter scale of fagginess, you got a Fichter scale? Sphincter scale, yeah, your sphincter scale. Wherever I rank on your sphincter scale is very individual, you know. And I'm gonna wander into this battlefield. It looks almost like I'm like entering a corn maze over here. Earthworks restoration underway. Please do not climb on the earthworks. Okay, I will not climb. It looks like there's clearly been a lot of climbing onto the earthworks, but I will stay away from the earthworks. Which I assume just means these ramparts over which we watched were so gallantly streaming in the rocket's red glare. Or some shit like that, you know. I think I skipped a bar in there somewhere. Being gay actually feels good, very liberating, I agree. It's nice. It's, well, it's weird to be hung up on what you're not, you know? Like, for me growing up, I literally only understood the concept of gay as a negative thing. Like, not even really understanding what it meant other than it's something you don't want to be. It's just like a thing you call people you don't like, you know? Like, I didn't have any, because I grew up totally a-religious. So to me, like, the negativity of being gay had nothing to do with thinking somebody's going to go to hell or whatever the fuck. I got a bunch of, if you want to see some really funny Christian comments, if you want to go bully some dumbass Christians, I recently uploaded a short called Never Trust Straights, which is a clip from one of these live streams where I was just going on about how straight people are untrustworthy, and anybody who puts a lot of stock into like identifying as straight, like talking about the fact that they're straight, like, because there's no real reason to do that, right? Like, it doesn't affect, especially if you're like, say you're in a relationship, right? Like, you're already married. What do you gain from like continuing to insist on how straight you are? You're not gonna, like, are you trying to fuck around? Like, are you looking for somebody? Are you looking for another woman to enter your relationship? No. Are you trying to reassure your wife that you're not like cheating on her with your guy friends or something? She's just gonna think you're cheating on her with her girlfriends. Like, I don't understand the incentive to insist that you are straight, other than that you think that's normal and that's what normal people do. And I'm here to tell you, it's not normal to be straight. It is normal to say you're straight. It is normal to performatively act straight. It is not normal to be straight. It's normal to be attracted to whoever you happen to be attracted to on a totally case-by-case basis. It's not normal to be attracted to all women or all men. And the standards of what different women and men are attracted to are completely fucking different. So calling yourself something like straight or gay, it really doesn't say that much about what you're actually attracted to, you know? So, you know, I just don't think that, I don't think that people who put a lot of stock in being straight are being very honest, and I think that they're using that dishonesty as a you know, a bludgeon, is that the right word? A thing that they beat up gays with, you know? They're using it to say like, well, I'm super normal, so you must be a freak. Well, why can't you just ignore the gay thoughts, you know? Like, why would I? Why do I have to? Why do you think you have to, you know? So, yeah, I don't trust people who put a lot of stock in their straightness. And I made a video about this, and I got, just today, this video came out like a week ago, but just today I woke up to like 5 or 6 like, you're definitely going to hell comments, you know? All like, some of them preachier than others. One person just said, you're really not reading the room. I said, what room? They said, exactly. I responded, you could be from anywhere. I don't know what room. What room do you think I'm in? I'm in the room with the queers. I'm in the room with the people who don't trust straights. What room are you in? I'm not in your room, dude. Just because YouTube put my fucking video in your space, you know, like, you are in my room. You opened the door into my room. And you come in here with your Christian bullshit, which I think is flatly retarded. So I said as much in a few comments, like Christianity, believing in God, you know, and maybe that's insulting to retarded people. I don't know if retarded is really a diagnosis that's still given out. But, you know, this isn't to disparage the mentally handicapped. I know plenty of neurodivergent people who are smart enough to not, you know, think that God's real. But, you know, there's lots of fucking baby-minded dipshits out there. But most of them are just pretending. Like, most of them don't think God is real. They just need something. They need something to cling on to because they're so fucking desperate, because they know they're stupid, but they don't want to give power to a smarter person than them, so they have to give it up to God. Like, oh, well, you know, all my decisions are backed by God, and, you know, he made everything exactly the way it is. Are you going to tell me God's wrong? Like, yes, I am going to tell you God's wrong. I'm smarter than your God. Because if your God is letting you do what you're doing, he's a fucking idiot. So, you know, fuck your God. Anyway, a bunch of weird Christians showed up on that video. And, yeah, it's weird. It's weird how they want to... I guess the idea is that they think they're going to bully me into being less gay by like the way they talk sounds insane if you're not a Christian person. Like, if you read this text, you're just like, what the fuck? Like, this is schizobabble. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? And it's weird that they think that's going to be effective somehow. Like, they think that 6 to 10 Bible thumpers all commenting at the same time is going to make you change your mind. And it's like, you all sound insane. Like, fucking more people need to be keyed into how crazy you actually type. Like, the stuff you guys say, the opinions you have are nuts, you know? And they hide behind this veil of like, but we're Christians, so, you know, so we're backed by the word of God. And it's like, you're backed by fucking a voice in the back of your head telling you it's God, which is what we call schizophrenia. So you need to have that looked at. You need to go seek therapy about that. Christians need therapy badly. Very badly. Everybody needs therapy, but Christians really need therapy. Most of the Christians that I've met who are really serious about it were just recovered drug addicts who, like, basically needed to remind themselves about Jesus every time that they felt a craving, and then did crack anyways, again, you know? So, yeah, fat lot of fucking trust I have for that lot. Alright, let's wander this fucking battlefield some more. Let me know if my connection gets spotty. If anybody has anything they'd like me to rant about, pop a super chat in there. Low power mode. Oh, I better plug my phone in. I got a battery on me. There we go. There's a random grave here. In memory of unknown Confederate soldiers believed to be buried here in 1861 to 1865, placed by Old Dominion Dragoons Chapter UDC, Hampton, VA, 1954. I gotta say, Old Dominion Dragoons could not sound more like a fucking Illuminati branch if they tried, or some kind of like KKK. Clearly people who are very sad about these Confederate soldiers, you know. This place was both a battlefield in the Revolutionary and the Civil Wars. So, a lot of dead Americans here. Big time dead American energy in this place. I'm walking in only in places where clearly cars have driven, which their weight would have activated any unexploded, I don't know what kind of explosives they had in the Civil War. I don't think mines were commonplace yet. I don't think we've had an American soil war that heavily involved mines, which is the main reason I feel more comfortable walking around. Now, granted, there are still parts of the U.S. where it's like dynamite. You got to be worried about, you don't want to fucking stumble into some unexploded dynamite. But the odds of that happening, if you're not like a serious explorer, are really low. America's not very occupied, but it is very maintained. It's pretty impressive how much maintenance we've done of this unfucking believably massive country. Like, the amount of it that is like sort of tamed and monitored is wild. Check this out. We've got to the right, we've got straight ahead, and we've got to the left, and also back where I came. You can't hear a word being said? Can anybody else hear me? Am I inaudible? I hope I haven't been inaudible this whole time. No, it looks like you guys were responding to things I've been saying. If you're gonna ask questions, by the way, where is the best regards to the weekend, and will it blend with the storm last night? I think it's fine to get the presentation of the following week. What the fuck does that mean, actually? Yeah, Shibbity, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, if you want to ask questions, leave super chats for that. Otherwise, I'm just wandering around and rambling. I guess I'll get more onto the topic I put in the title of being bullied is better than being ignored. Although I think that being bullied might have more immediate, like, emotionally charged consequences. Like, when you really feel that weight of like a bunch of people don't like you all at once, you know, it's a pretty overwhelming feeling. But at the same time, it tends to not really last. Like, it's hard for a large group of people to stay mad at you for a long time because they have their own lives to attend to, you know? So it's kind of like, if you can weather out that storm, usually you'll be fine. Although there might be some people who are really obsessed with bullying you, but those people also have a problem. So, like, you know, I think for the most part, bullying is pretty survivable. But I think that being like totally alone, being ignored entirely, is like possibly not survivable, especially if it happened from the start, right? Like, imagine if you're just an infant that's completely ignored. Like, you're dead, you know? Yeah, you could be an infant whose mom is feeding you, but also kind of treats you like shit. You'll still be alive, you know? Now, granted, you might grow up to be totally fucking mentally broken, but you will have lived. And I've gone through periods of my life of being both bullied and ignored. And being ignored, like, it fucked with my mind more because it left me to toil with myself about why am I being ignored, you know? When you're being bullied, people are trying to tell you. They're trying to tell you what's wrong. They're like, hey, change this about yourself and you'll fit in. And if you refuse to do that, they'll either keep bullying you or eventually ignore you. And I think that if you seem like somebody who's kind of threatening, like people don't want to bully you because they're afraid of you, or that they're afraid of the consequences of bullying you, they're much more likely to just ignore you. And that's kind of what I transpired between middle school and high school. Because up until high school, I was the tiniest, scrawniest, most effeminate kid in the world. And so I got bullied a lot by what I'm going to just say are mostly, obviously, in retrospect, closet homosexuals, which is not too surprising. I kind of came to understand this better when as you grow up, you come to realize that most people who do any form of bullying, any form of mockery, almost always comes from a place of insecurity. It's, I wouldn't want to be that. And I feel like I have the potential to be that. Because if you don't feel like you have the potential to be that, you don't feel the need to reject it. Like, I've never, okay. I'm gonna talk about something that confused me at the time it was happening, and maybe it's relatable to some of you who have heard the Insufferable Social Media Argument podcast, where me and Monkey Jones would just do edgy humor for an hour a week. And I was always just kind of playing the most like out-of-pocket ridiculous character with the dumbest takes imaginable, you know, like not even really trying to make any kind of sense or make any kind of statement. But I always found it interesting that Monkey would fixate a lot on like Muslim stuff, like particularly Islamophobic issues. And he had done it sometimes in his videos too. And it's not that he was particularly focused on them above everybody else, but it was like I had never encountered this culture at all. So I feel no type of way about Islamic culture because in just where I live, where I grew up, it had no influence. But he lived in a place where there was a growing Islamic population and it was starting to have subtle influences on the culture around him. And so he was like worried about it in a personal way and kind of poking at it because of that, you know? And Monkey's like an ultimate bully. He's an bully. All he has ever done is be a bully and bully everybody. Why? Because he is the tiniest man in the world. Monkey Jones is like 5'2" and 100 pounds. He's little, he's squeaky, he's obnoxious, you know, he's a little autistic, he's pretentious. So he's always gotten by being a bully. And I kind of like that. I don't mind that about him, you know? I like bullies. I think that the more I understand them, the more I think that people, again, they bully because they care. They bully because they want to, you know, they want to see what's going to happen. They bully because they're like, you know, thinking, is this thing going to change me? If so, I'm going to resist. I'm going to resist the change, you know? And but you only resist because you think it can change you, you know? I typically don't go out of my way to bully Christians. I don't talk about them very much. They popped into my chat today, so I made a just full force, you know, fuck all you guys just now. And then I kind of immediately forgot about it. Like, let's say, whatever, you know, I don't care because it doesn't have influence in my life. There's not you know, people trying, well, aside from those YouTube commenters, there's nobody in my personal life that's like really religious or trying to convert me or like convincing me that I'm going to go to hell for being gay or something. For me, rejection of, you know, my own homosexuality over, you know, my youth, again, was more just because my only understanding of gayness was that it was just a thing people make fun of you for being. That's all I knew about it. Nothing to do with going to hell, none of that. It was just kids would go, "You're gay." And I was like, oh no, I'm not. You know, I'm not gay. But I also just wasn't sexually like interested. I was fucking a kid, you know. Whoa. I was a kid. Fucking damn. Bad phrasing. Anyway, I as a child was not thinking about who I was attracted to. I was just thinking about not wanting to be made fun of for being gay or being a girl. And so I rejected being a girl, I rejected being gay, even though all signs pointed to the contrary. And all of my friends who everybody called gay when I was growing up, who I would always defend and say they weren't gay, they were gay. They turned out to be gay in the long run. The kids who kind of bullied us, who were around, they were bi, they were gay. Like, there was a lot of gay going around. There was a lot of gay going around the neighborhood, you know? So, and I moved a lot, so I had lots of different encounters with different types of people. So it's kind of like, you know, I might have had one friend in each school that I went to, and that was like the closet gay kid, you know? But, you know, by the time I got to high school, it changed to where I started to think that I was bisexual or gay or trans or something, but I didn't know what, and I didn't know how to represent that in how I looked. So I just let myself go, you know? I gained weight, I grew a scraggly, shitty beard, I had long hair, but it was always all fucked up and nappy because I wouldn't really take care of it. You know, my teeth have always been kind of fucked up, and they were probably just getting really fucked up around that time. Especially because I had like, my canine teeth that I have now are like a third set. Like, aside from my kid teeth falling out, I grew an extra pair of canines over the originals at some point, and they like pushed them out. So for a while there was like a tooth over a tooth. Anyway, my teeth have been fucked up for a long time, that's what I'm trying to say. And you know, when I was in high school, I just looked like such a fucking mess that people, like, particularly when I first, so I started high school in living in Chesterfield, Virginia, and for like a couple of months I was going to a pretty nice high school, and if I had stayed there, I had a friend who was a senior who was like the older brother of one of my friends my age who was like into game development, and I totally would have probably become that guy's mentor and just like learned how to make video games. That's another timeline that I didn't get to go down. Instead, we moved to inner city Richmond, and at the nearly all black school, they all thought I was a school shooter. Like, let's not mess with that white kid. That white kid will kill all of us, you know, was the mentality there. So people largely ignored and avoided me. And I just, like, I really tried to make friends with the other, like, couple of anime fans or, like, nerdier kids in my class, like, kids who I knew were into the same music I was and stuff. But nobody ever wanted to be caught having, like, hung out with me. They didn't want to have to be asked questions about me, you know. They would spread rumors about me and stuff. So, like, yeah, it just was like, I felt like, wow, I'm totally like on an island here, you know. And this was when I was going through puberty and first like realizing that I was, you know, attracted to men. But the first, like, I tried to have relationships on the internet, and this was old internet on forums where like I, as a 14-year-old, should not have been talking to these people at all that I was trying to have relationships with. Most of whom were, you know, considerably older than me. But like, I was also kind of really scared. Like, I would never post my name or my face online. I would never post any kind of information. It's because my parents had just told me, you know, like, the internet's full of pedophiles. You, like, don't do any of it. You'll get your identity stolen. You'll get all your money stolen. Good lessons, good mentality to have going into being on the internet. But you know, all of those internet relationships and stuff, like, that was most of where like my emotions were being poured into at the time, because I had literally no personal connections, no friends, nobody. I was like, no social life at all. I wasn't really talking to my family because I didn't know how to talk to them about what I was going through. So I just kind of holed up in my room, and that's when I started really becoming like a hikikomori, you know? And this was like, I'd already been like an anime fan for a couple of years, but I had always had anime to share with my older cousin that I used to live close to before this period. And I had other friends at school that I had gotten into anime. So like, it wasn't like anime had ever prevented me from being social or being into video games. You know, I had friends I could invite over and play video games with. But once I was in high school and all this was happening, I just was like totally on an island by myself. And that's when I really thought I had like mentally cracked. Like, and I kind of went further into the closet after this point, because I basically blamed all the homosexual feelings at the time on like feeling like I'd just gone crazy, you know, like maybe I was just so lonely that I, you know, felt like I particularly remember Neon Genesis Evangelion, watching that and seeing Shinji and Kaoru's relationship, and my take on it being, Shinji is just so alone that he's willing to take a guy, you know? I didn't even read it as he was gay, because I didn't read myself that way. I was like, I had rejected, like, the first time I tried to have a male relationship with a guy through the internet, ended up, you know, running away from that and just kind of being like, nah, maybe this was just a product of loneliness, you know? And then, you know, after having been in straight relationships, after having built a social life, built a following online, still feeling this thing of like, uh-oh, like, this isn't really, like, all this stuff I'm doing, like the identity I'm purporting is not really, why is it low battery? It's just plugged in. Is the battery not plugged in? Are you empty? The battery's dead. It was drained in the night. All right, we're gonna have to go back to the car and plug in. Shit, I didn't realize I was only on 10%. If this stream suddenly ends, it'll be because the phone died. Get your super chats in now. I only have so much time to rant before the phone might die. If you have any questions about bullying and you know, why it's better than being ignored. But yeah, I think you know, when I was on the internet, I would get bullied a lot for the fact that I just was like really intense and wrote with like bad grammar and too much swearing and stuff. But when I started trying to become friends with older anime bloggers, you know, I've talked about this in a couple recent streams, like, it was mostly their bullying that made me good at what I do. Like, sympathetic bullying, like people who were willing to talk to me, but under the consequence that I had to be made aware of how bad my writing is. Like, because I would beg people to read my blog. I would literally be like, please somebody read my post. And they'd be like, it's kind of hard because you don't fucking spell check them, you know? And you know, that kind of like, just be better. Like, people just screaming at me, people who I admired, who were not ignoring me, they were screaming at me to be better. And to me that meant like, well, okay, at least they want me to be better. That means they want me to be good enough to communicate with them. They don't want to have to shut me out, you know? They want me to be in their club. So even these Christians who are trying to bully me, like, the way I see it, they can tell I'm a great speaker. They can tell I'm a powerful individual, a person of influence. They can tell that the things I say affect people's minds. They really want me in their club. They all sound like fucking insane, schizophrenic psychopaths. So they would love to have a great speaker to represent their side. Unfortunately, I think their side is dog shit, and they need to come to my side. They need to actually listen to all the, you know, charismatic words, not just be lulled by my voice, you know, my sensual tones. They need to get their fucking dick out of their hand when they're watching my videos and actually listen to what I'm saying. And join Team Gay, you know, draw some gay porn of Jesus, and get on my level. Now, if you're watching this and you haven't sent me any Pride items, shame on you. It is not hard. Twitter, Discord, just flood me with everything you got. Find the folder on your computer of gay anime. There should be a folder on your computer, probably somewhere. You've got like an image folder, like saved images, anime, gay. I need that folder. I need everything in that folder. By the time I get back to a computer tonight, I'm going to be flooding the internet with homosexual anime imagery pretty much nonstop for the rest of the month. So I need as much of it as I can get. If you have any, it could be pretty much anything gay, but if it's anime, it doesn't just have to be imagery either. It could be videos. You can just give me titles of shows. Give me names of manga I need to read. Give me all the Pride items you have. All right? Any item of Pride. If it is a cool picture of a person looking really gay. Especially if it's anime related. I just need all the Pride items you have. Especially if they're funny. Especially if they're funny in a way that kind of makes fun of being gay while also obviously making it look really fun. Like, that's the best kind of meme. The type that makes it look like, look at our dumbasses. And everybody's like, I want to be one of those dumbasses. That's the kind of memes I'm looking for. You know, Pride items. Revolutionary Girl Utena. Perfect example, actually. You know, awesome show. Deep, meaningful, dumber than shit, hilarious. Everybody should watch that this month. If you let a Pride month go by and you don't rewatch Revolutionary Girl Utena, you wasted Pride month. Sorry. It's just the way it is. You've got to watch Utena for Pride. If you've never seen it, at the very least, you have to watch it this year. There's absolutely no reason that Utena is less talked about culturally than Evangelion, other than homophobia. So we need to correct this. It's a better show. It needs the recognition, you know. It's an award winner. It's a classic. Nobody disagrees about that. Just underrepresented. Not enough people have seen it. It's gotta be like the queerest anime of the 90s. It's literally the show that the team who made Sailor Moon made when they couldn't make Sailor Moon gay, when they couldn't get permission to make Sailor Moon gay enough. They made another show that they could make a bit more gay. And yes, that is literally the history of Revolutionary Girl Utena. Because Ikuhara directed season 3 onwards of Sailor Moon. They had some gay characters, but they, you know, Utena's not really a children's show. It's maybe like the characters are in high school, but they all act like adults. It's kind of like for, you know, smarts. It's like if you're a teen, but you're like, I'm smarter than the other teens because I'm gay, then Utena is definitely for you. But other than that, I think it's more for adults because it's kind of really, like, dense. and kind of hard to parse sometimes. But it should be watched as a comedy. If you're going to watch Utena, it's most safe to watch it as a comedy. And honestly, it might be better to watch the movie first, because the movie is confusing as shit as it is. It changes a lot of the story, but I think Utena makes more sense if you know the ending, kind of. Like, the whole show makes more sense if you know the ending, and the movie just does the ending kind of better. So, like, you could watch the movie and then watch the show so that you understand what the fuck you just saw in that movie, you know? That would probably be a pretty fun way to watch Utena. I think if I could go back and do it for the first time, I would want to do it that way. Because the movie, aesthetically, is just fucking phenomenal. It'll really get its hook in you on that level. And it tells the whole story, kind of, in a very short form. And then you can just expand that with 39 episodes of comedy, you know? The movie's also way less funny. So, you know, it would give you kind of it feels kind of weird going to the movie after the show. But it probably wouldn't feel as weird the other way around. I don't know. Yes, Revolutionary Girl Utena. Deeply, deeply recommended. It is 39 episodes long. I would not recommend watching it all, like binge watching it all at once, because it's not very plot driven. It's more so driven by character. Like if you're gonna watch the show, try to follow the motivations of the characters more so than trying to follow, like, understand the plot or like keep track of all the. There's not really that much going on in the story up until the very end. Like, all of the plot questions are kind of answered in the final arc. Up until that point, it's really just a character study, and it's really funny. So if you're watching it, like, getting too lost in, like, what does this all mean? Like, you're just gonna miss the jokes, you know? That's kind of why I think the movie might work first, because it'll give you, like, it just is the plot. So you could just understand the story, and then you just go watch the show and be entertained by them. But it is literally just a retelling. They are two versions of the same story. But one is a 39 episode comedy show with Magical Girl, with the structure of a Magical Girl show. There's a transformation sequence every episode, you know, like, it has a very repetitive structure that makes it better to watch weekly, or, you know, every couple of days, maybe a couple episodes a day, maybe an arc a day if you're really trying to push it, you know, because you can do the whole first 13 episodes and the next 13 and then the last 13. But yeah, the movie is, like, not even very long. It really condenses the story. It doesn't make a ton of sense, but it does get the point across quickly, so that you could then just enjoy the show. You never seen it because you always put it to the side? A lot of people do, and it is kind of like, okay, so I watched it for the first time when I was like 17, and it's because it was the favorite anime of one of the people I really respected on a message board. Like, there's a few people who, just because I thought they had really interesting taste and they always had good takes, I was, like, committed to watching everything on their favorites list. So this person, I believe they were part of the team that did the subs for Lucky Star, like the colored, you know, the pink and blue, like the original Lucky Star subs. So one of their I think their, like, #1 favorite was Revolutionary Girl Utena, and so I was like, I have to watch this show. And I did, and a lot of it felt over my head. I didn't really understand the humor at the time, in part because this was 2007. I had seen, like, a pretty good amount of anime, but I still didn't, like, understand Japanese well enough to, like, parse or I shouldn't even say it was a matter of understanding Japanese. I just, like, would hear my own voice in my head when I read subtitles back then. So, like, I didn't really hear the voices of the characters. I would just be, like, kind of filling in my own voice as I read the subs. I think that's part of why a lot of people don't like subtitles, but that kind of went away once I got, you know, more attuned to the voices. Oh, right, I forgot my battery is dying. There's a reason I headed back to the car. Okay, I gotta get in the car, but I think I can keep the stream going because I can just plug myself in. I was worried that I was gonna, like, literally the phone would die by the time I got there, but that doesn't seem to be an issue. So we're getting in. Oy. Okay, where should I put this? I guess I could put it on this cooler next to me. Yeah, there we go. Get plugged in. Hey, we have power. I read GTO. I've seen, like, half the anime, but I have not read the manga. Jeff Lang says, Free Palestine. Indeed, Free Palestine. They do not act like adults. They don't quite act like children either. They act more like aliens or demi-ghouls, I'd say. That's fair. They act like characters in a play, I guess. they're very like Shakespearean and dramatic. But yeah, like when I watched it as a teen, I felt like a lot of it went over my head, and I was like kind of waiting to get the point. And then at the end, I felt like I had seen a lot of interesting stuff and a lot of stuff that stuck in my head. And then watching the movie made me feel like I actually understood the point, you know, because it kind of beats you over the head with it at the ending. Um, and also the ending is just really cool. So that hit me a lot harder. But this was at a time where I literally was like at the end of my adolescence, you know, like getting ready to go into adulthood. And that's kind of what the show is about thematically. But it's so much more than that. Like, that's the angle that obviously I would have noticed because that's where I was at in life at the time. But like watching it just without like projecting myself onto it, coming at it, you know, seeing it a few times, understanding it on a deeper level, and then like, you know, there's a lot more that it has to say about society as a whole than just what it's like to graduate youth. You know, it's more like a show about staying woke, I guess, and how difficult it is to stay woke in a world that wants to force you into a delusion. In order for, you know, someone to maintain power, they need to create a delusion that everybody else operates under that maintains that power, you know? And that's kind of more what the show's about. In a lot of complicated detail, and also it's just a comedy. It's just a funny comedy show on top of that, you know? Like, that's the level on which I appreciate it the most, rewatching it again, is that, like, every episode makes me laugh, and some episodes make me laugh incredibly hard. So, you know, especially Nanami. Everything about Nanami is just the funniest shit in the world. And that's another place where, like, I can see, as a younger person, just being annoyed with her and hating her. Or even, like, I'm sure there's plenty of adults who just think she's an annoying brat and hate her. I think she's fucking hilarious because the show just beats on her relentlessly. And so it's funny to watch, like, that come up, you know, someone who's trying so hard to be cool and in charge and just getting relentlessly beat down and not giving up because she's so thick-headed. Relatable. I love Nanami. And Anthe. Anthe is one of my favorite characters in anime as well. She's one of the more relatable. Like, Anthe is one of the characters I definitely project onto as like, literally me. But I don't think that comes through very much in me making content because, like, Anthe's quiet. She would not probably ever do this kind of thing. Like, I'm normally quiet, but obviously on video the whole point is to talk, so I do it the whole time. Hi, are you gay? I am LGBTQ plus, neurodivergent, or neurospicy is what they call it up in Washington State. I don't hear that on the internet very much. But when I was up in Washington, everybody calls it neurospicy instead of neurodivergent, which I think is fun. I've got some leftover chicken nuggets from yesterday. Do you think these are worth eating? It still smells like a chicken nugget. And the hot mustard is really good from McDonald's. I really like their McDonald's hot mustard. Now this is what I call neurospicy. It's not terrible, but I don't think I want to eat any more of it. Enough of that. I gotta figure out what the fuck to do today. I'm kind of just hanging out in Newport News until Bird's done with work at like 2. And it's not even 8 o'clock. So I've got 6 hours to burn. and no plans except to stream. So, what should I do? Help me come up with a plan. I can't even listen to music because my phone is being used to stream. So I need ideas. Where do I go? What do I do? What category of thing should I do? I have my laptop with me, but there's no Wi-Fi in this field, so can't do anything with that. Don't really have anything downloaded onto it except for my own content and a very, very small pornography folder. Hit a fat bong? I don't have a fat bong. I've just got vape. Or just got this vape. Why do I have big eyebrows? I was born like this, dog. I don't know. Why do you have small eyebrows? I don't know. You could randomly go to Barnes & Noble and pick apart the manga section. That could be fun. Go around, ask normies if they know what Memorial Day is about. I'm pretty sure Memorial Day is just about memorializing soldiers or some shit, right? I actually know exactly where I was last year at this time, because last year on Memorial Day we were at a big memorial. We were at the World War I memorial in Kansas City. We were there for work and for like a week, and at the end of the week was Memorial Day. And so we had seen the thing. I don't remember. I think we had already maybe checked it out or like driven through the thing once, and then we went back because we were just like, this place is crazy. It's a fucking ridiculously massive monument. It looks like some fucking Anne Orlando shit. Hey, Bail Sabab with $2. First super chat of the day. Let's go. Hey, check out the sunrise. Look at that. That's basically what you did just now. Made the sun come up. Smoke weed and watch DBZ and Naruto fights. Man, I would need... Soup Williams, you need Jesus. You really gotta watch. You should scroll back about 40 minutes into this VOD and watch that section. That would be a very good idea. I can't watch DBZ and Naruto fights because the only source of internet I have in this car is this phone. I have a... People are starting to donate money so you can fix your eyebrows. SS10K3R saying my boy is basically just asking to get banned in here. You really got to be a lot more careful with your trolling. People come in here and get banned immediately. It's crazy. I don't know if they're trying to get banned or if they just don't realize how easy it is. But you get banned pretty much at the slightest whiff of transphobia in this channel. We don't suffer retardation here. We leave you on the hills of Thermopylae like they used to do in the days of Sparta. Summer number 15,532 with £7.77. Are normies even real? No, not at all. I don't believe in normies at all. I think that, okay, so if you really want to understand modern American culture, you need to understand advertising, because it's pretty much what created modern American culture. There is no reason to consider really anybody outside of your village's existence at all. Like, if you really think about it, for most of human history, there was barely anyone had an effect on your life at all. Like, you knew like 10 people, you know, or 100 people, or maybe getting really crazy 1,000 people, you know, but like, that was it. There was nobody else around. If you had a kingdom with 1,000 people, that's a fucking huge kingdom. But that was it. You know, like, you didn't know anything about what's going on in the neighborhood. neighboring kingdom, which was like, you know, the next city. There's not that much going on. And the United States is huge. Huge. It is a continent-sized country. So consider that, like, up until the Industrial Revolution and the invention of cars, there was no whatsoever sense of unity between the people in different parts of the US, other than, like, that the government usually sponsored people to continue. Like, westward expansion was sponsored by the government wanting there to be people who self-identify as Americans in further land. People who are willing to pay taxes back. They were willing to give you money to go establish something that was long-term going to benefit the government. So, like, culture was practically non-existent in the United States. I mean, it's whatever we, like, everyone here is an immigrant from, at most, 300 years ago. So they've all brought their culture from other places, but all of it got diluted here immediately, you know? Like, nobody's culture is treated like it's allowed to have dominance. We just kind of take whatever is the best aspects of whatever gets brought here, and combine that with what naturally is here, you know? So, like, Native American traditions, those have, like, actual meaning, because those are things that arose from people, like, living off the land and figuring out what made sense to do here culturally. And some of those traditions are still alive, but not a lot of them, you know? Like, that definitely are not a central focal point of what we consider American culture. That came into existence almost entirely between the 20s and the 50s. And a lot of the people who were born in that period are still alive. And they are the first generation that had a conception of what American culture is. They were the first generation that had television. They were the first generation that had advertising, that had mass printing, you know, like newspapers everywhere, that had big cities, dense with lots of people who don't know each other. They were the first generation who had neighbors they do not know at all. And so the entirety of American culture was basically created in this, like, 30-year span, and then it's been iterated on and evolved as time goes on. But, like, the internet has created a totally different culture that, if you were raised in kind of like, you have American culture and you also have internet culture, and for young people growing up now, those two things are indistinct. Like, if you are, you know, born in an age where the internet is everywhere, then you're not growing up with American culture. You're growing up with internet informed American culture, which is a different American culture. So, like, there is a radical change in what American culture is coming. And it's going to be fucking hilarious to watch it happen, because people have been clinging to this idea of normal because it's been sold to them for 100 years now. 100 years of, like, creating a sense of a concerted identity so that the government could keep all of this making sense as one holistic thing, and it no longer does, and everybody's realizing it. But they don't want to tear it apart, because at this point, like, we can't really do war anymore. Like, war's kind of done. So it's like, rather than diluting the US in smaller parts, it's more likely that the whole world will dilute into one greater whole. The, you know, globalism seems to be winning because it kind of just makes sense. But, like, creating a global morality will take, you know, it'll take hundreds of years of internet culture becoming seeded everywhere worldwide to a point that it just pushes all old cultures out, because it is a global culture itself. So, like, the older internet culture gets, the more it will age out of existence any culture that isn't internet culture based. So, like, I think there's a huge global change coming as generations grow up that have just a totally different understanding of culture because of global internet. That just wasn't possible before. And still, like, even now in America, most people are not on the internet. We have a very aged population. So, like, most of the people with power and money in America are old and they don't know fuck about this new culture that's emerging. And they believe in this idea of a normal, but it's being fed to them by the same sources they've been getting it from their whole lives. And those sources don't know what the fuck is going on. They're just trying to create enough news to stay on the airwaves, you know, like, but they can barely wrap their fucking brains around what's actually happening. So yeah, like, what is considered normal in America is like a thing that when you're trying to create a product for the highest number of people, you have to locate the lowest common denominator. But the lowest common denominator is not a large number. Like, it's maybe, let's say that it was 15%. Right? Like, that 15% of all Americans lived exactly the lifestyle that you see in the average sitcom. Or like 15% are nuclear family sitcoms and 15% are New York high-rise sitcoms. And the rest of America is not represented in sitcoms whatsoever. But we're all watching Friends and Seinfeld. We're all watching, you know, fucking the endless number of Everybody Loves Raymond's. Like, there's, but it's not the lifestyle of most of the people watching it. Like, we understand it because we probably, at the very least, know somebody like this, or we've seen enough of it on TV that we understand that this is what culture is like. Culture's made for those people, but it's all made to target that same demographic because it is the biggest demographic, not because it's overwhelmingly huge, not because like 75% of everybody is in this demographic. 15%, 85% of everybody you can't fucking target at all because they're too unique of people. Most people are too unique to really be targeted by advertising. Most product is not purchased by most people, you know. So, like, you got to consider that no one thing is actually targeting everybody. But in the effort to reach the most people possible, they're going to cast the widest net they can. And the more they can appeal to an ideal of normalcy, or even make you feel like you are more normal for liking the thing. Like, because people want to feel normal. They want to feel like they're part of the in-group. If you can make like 500,000 people feel like they're part of the in-group, you know, like, that's a pretty what's the word I'm looking for? Profitable in-group to have. Alright, what else is happening in chat? Where you get the Pikachu pants? I don't... Probably Spencer's or something? I don't really remember. Just some regular place, like a Target, I don't know. Fuzzy Dumpling said, this is the dumbest rant you've ever heard. No, this is the dumbest rant you've ever heard. There you go, buddy. Do it. Exactly. Shibbity agrees. That was a pretty dumb rant. When a guy named Meth is going, Lamau the fuck. Watching someone actively having a bipolar disorder or episode. I don't think you've ever seen a bipolar episode, my friend. I've seen a few of those. I don't think I'd be like I don't think I'd still be in the car. I'd be like running around fucking screeching about power lines or some shit. What? Just thinking. I'm sorry. You've now got me thinking about what bipolar episodes look like and the people I've seen have them. I don't want to call anybody out though, but I've seen someone. I've seen it take 5 grown men to put a woman into a stretcher before. So you know, those things are wild. Everybody left. Well, ain't that a bitch? I guess this gives me a chance to figure out where the fuck I'm going. Hello, Shibbity. Yeah, the phone overheated again. It's not hot in the car, so I hadn't really thought about it, but the sun has come out and was pretty much directly on the phone, so I guess the sunlight got it hot and it shutted it down. I think you all might be somewhat behind or something, like lagged. Another car was pulling up. I was like, what the fuck? There's a dude in that car. He's rocking the cornrow Kenny braids. And he took off, probably because he saw me looking weird and looking hard. Ever seen Sling Blade? I have not, but I've heard a lot about it. Mm-hmm. I got an uncle who likes doing a Sling Blade impression. Am I homeless or something? No offense, just wondering why you are in the car for so long. Because so Bert and I went camping the last 2 nights, and I took him to work this morning from camp. So I packed up camp, and I could go back to the house, but it's like an hour away, and I'd rather just hang out nearby before, until he's done with work, and then pick him up. And we're going to hang out together, and then we're going to go back home. But I haven't really decided what I'm going to do, like hanging out on this side of the water. I've asked the chat, but nobody has come up. Nobody's come up with anything for me to do. What is it? The braids? Yeah. It was written and directed by Billy Bob Thornton. I didn't know that. Yeah, my crazy ass alcoholic uncle is a big fan of that movie and likes doing a Sling Blade impression. But I ain't never seen it myself. I have not found any more context about Jeremy the Quartering. I like how you call him JQ, like the Jewish question. I don't know if you're aware of that as a thing, but. Anyway, Jeremy the Quartering's 3 Gay Dads. I have not learned anything more about that. I went to bed immediately after the previous stream. Like, we woke up at 4 in the morning, so I went to bed right away in anticipation of that. Shibbity dibbity with a whole fucking 20 pound. God damn. Hell yeah. Party today. Rant about the merits of Christianity. I am asking you to rant about it because I think it would be funny to get you to do that. If you don't see the humor in that, do not feel compelled. Lol. No, there's definitely merits in it. I would say mostly community organization. Like, okay, well, being realistic, Christianity probably got us up out the mud, right? Like, religion did a lot for humanity. It did a lot of negative. It did a lot of positive. I think... But, so, to get incredibly cliche, with great power comes great responsibility, right? So I think when religion was devised, it was like, how do we fucking convince these people to stop killing themselves? Like, how do we convince people that they should change their behavior in ways that benefit both them and me, And so the answer to that tends to be stories. People respond to stories because it puts them in the mindset. It makes it feel like it happened to them. Like, you tell a story to somebody and they experiencing your story makes them feel like they just had that experience for real. And so, you know, they might not get it on the same level that you do, but at the very least you can transcribe some of your understanding to somebody else through a story. And so, you know, I don't know if in the beginning these texts were meant to be necessarily like worshipped so much as like they were just considered incredibly important because this teaches you how to live well. You know, like most people who learned these lessons benefited from these lessons. They learned how to be, you know, better to others. They learned how to, through most of history, this is the only reason people even knew fucking language. Like, people literally were not being taught how to live except through the lens of religious texts instructing them on the basics. And there's a lot of stuff, like, when it comes to not having loose sex, right, or even not having homosexual sex, through most of human history, fucking sexually transmitted diseases were a really big deal. Like, yeah, you really shouldn't have been having loose sex all the time back then. It was not good. You were gonna die. Like, the only reason that those religions don't work anymore is, like, science beat that. You know, we fixed it. We have contraception. We have, you know, cures for a lot of sexually transmitted diseases. We have condoms. We have, you know, ways. We have talk about sex more, so we know about ways you can have sex that don't necessarily transmit diseases, you know, or sexual content that's not. Just so much better understanding has led to no longer needing that moral guideline, you know. And like, people who take it hyper literally as like, yeah, but God literally said you can't have gay sex. It's like, well, that's not the fucking point of this book. The point of this book is, here's a bunch of good ideas about how to live your life circa thousands of years ago, you know. So maybe it's time to update. But now, you know, everybody's a writer. Everybody's got their own religion they're sort of preaching. You know, if you looked at every book, has the potential to be a religious text, but no one book is ever going to be as popular as the Bible had been, because no one book is ever going to be as integral as the Bible had been, you know. Now we have institutions we put people through where they read, hopefully, a couple dozen or a couple hundred books, you know. Like, the expectation is not that you learn how to speak from the fucking Bible. You learn how to speak from a teacher, you know, who, for, again, even American history, like, you had a teacher teaching kids in a school, but she was teaching them how to speak through the Bible. Like, you know, that was always the example. It was always the reference. It was always the, you know, the required reading, up until we got, you know, really serious about separating church and state and pulling the Bible out of school, you know, and like teaching what is actually in a textbook, you know. So I think for a lot of history, Christianity and other religions probably did a net good for civilization, even if they also crushed untold numbers of cultures that were probably doing just fine underfoot in the effort of expanding civilization, which is debatably necessary. Well, okay, I won't even say debatably necessary, debatably even a good idea. And yeah, so like, it's hard to be forgiving of religion. It's hard to think that it really had a place now, like, considering how much things have changed. Like, what do you, like, Christianity can be used as a tool to teach people, but it's not very effective and it's not very modern, so it's not really going to prepare them to fit into an evolving society. Like, Christians are going to feel like outsiders and feel ostracized within 20 years, you know. Like, there's going to be very few places where you could be a Christian and feel like safe. And I personally, that's fine by me, you know. So I'm not going to do anything to affect that. Hopefully that answers that rant effectively. Do you like jelking? Isn't that where you like tug your dick to make it longer? I've heard of that. Do I think there are any merits to Christianity still existing in the modern day, or do I think it's entirely less preferable to modern belief structures? I mean, I do still think so. Like, some of the people that Bird works with are religious and they go to church, and he's considered going to church just as a chance to hang out with them, you know, to like figure out what is the appeal of this, you know, what are you guys getting out of this? Because like we went to a baptism once, and like, to me, I mean, I was kind of blown away by what church is, or at least what that church is. I wouldn't want to attend it because it's not my vibe, but like, there was a full-on fucking stage show with like great sound, you know, like the room is like the size of any concert venue I would go to, and it's completely free. Like, you just walk in, you sit in like a relatively comfortable chair, there's a free live performance, then a motivational speaker comes up, and he's basically doing a stand-up bit without the jokes. Like, well, okay, with soft, very soft, like, he's just doing like, you know, now guys, I know your lady might give you trouble sometimes, but you gotta love and appreciate her, because that's what a holy man, you know, it's just like saying nice things, basically, like pleasant platitudes to help the average dumb person make it through life. And I was like, yeah, okay, this is below my reading level, but there's nothing bad happening here. Like, unless that pastor is molesting all of those fucking teen girls he's dumping in that pool, nothing bad is happening here. You know, this seems like a positive influence on all these people. So I don't think church is like, I don't think the practice in and of itself is negative. It probably brings a lot of positivity into people's lives. It's mostly where those people start judging others for not having the same experience. Like, thinking, oh, how can you possibly have a sense of community if you don't go to church? How can you possibly have a sense of morality if you don't believe in God? And it's like, you can understand all of those principles from the Bible without like literally believing that like that it's being mandated by a fucking spirit sky father that like birthed an immaculate child to, you know, all this other shit that they got going on. Like, you can literally have all those morals without believing that shit. I don't know what the difference is. I don't know how it makes it more real to someone to think that like a guy they can't see told them that it's all real, you know. I don't know. It's weird to me, but you know, whatever helps you get through the fucking day. It's rare I hear a bird story and don't think, damn, that's wholesome as fuck. Pretty much any story that doesn't involve getting outrageously drunk with Bird is very wholesome. If he gets outrageously drunk, it's going to be a harrowing story of how Bird almost died, or you know, some awful fight that we got into. But you know, if it's a normal amount of drinking, there's usually a wholesome undercurrent, or he's getting fucked with by some dumb old guy in a tiny hat somewhere. I don't remember if we told that story on a live stream. But when we were in Oregon one time, I think it was in Bend, we're at this brewery. It was like they had all Belgian style beers, which was pretty cool. We went there because we had avoided getting the food the first time because it seemed really expensive. And then we went and we did try the food, and it wasn't really worth the price. So it was kind of a letdown. And there was this dude sitting at the table behind Bird who was like really loudly ranting about some woman, like some young woman he works with that he was really pissed off at because she had fucked up the schedule or something. And he's just like loud, like, it's a fucking bitch, it's fucking like really loud, you know? And at one point I think I kind of looked over and he like looked me right in the eyes with psycho eyes. Like, imagine as blue and brilliant as mine or as Jeremy the Quarterings, but like the most psychopath, like the most like all the way open, threatening, like piercing, looks right through the back of your fucking brain like a bullet. And I was like, I'm not looking at that guy again. I saw like other people who kind of like glanced over. He immediately gave the same treatment, right? So we're getting ready to leave. I get up to go to the bathroom, and motherfucking shit better work for me. Can y'all hear me again? Am I back? Am I back? This was an internet problem this time. Actually, why is it even... It was like trying to connect to a Wi-Fi. I'm like, there's no Wi-Fi. Why would it be doing that? Anyway, so the arrangement is I'm on one side of a table, Bird's on the other. Directly behind Bird is this guy's wife, who has not audibly said a fucking word this whole time. I've heard her like, well, I guess maybe, you know, like kind of, but across the table from her is this dude who's just being the louder than fucking shit. So that's why I was able to look him eye to eye, because we're sort of facing each other. So Bird's got his back to their whole table. I've gone to the bathroom, Bird's on his phone, and he hears this guy go, "Phone's too fucking loud." And he's thinking, like, can't possibly be about me. My phone's not even very loud, right? And then Bird gets up because he realizes he has to go to the bathroom too, and he might as well meet me on the way out, right? So, and he realizes when he gets up, that guy has already gotten up as well. So all of this kind of happens at once. I'm coming out of the bathroom. Bird's heading towards it. That guy is at the front desk. And I'm just kind of milling around. I overhear, he seems to be like complaining about something. I didn't realize that any of this phone stuff had happened. So Bird comes out of the bathroom. And the guy says something to him like you can have your phone, or I don't remember what he said. He said something to Bird. And it was clear that he was at the front desk complaining about the phone being too loud. Like, this guy had gone up to the front desk. By the way, this is like a 50-something-year-old man. Like an old dude, maybe like 6 feet tall, you know, like a white goatee, glasses, and a cowboy hat that's too small. Just like somewhat too small. Just a somewhat too small of a fucking hat. And he's literally at the front desk complaining about Bird's phone being too loud. After he's been screaming the whole time, saying fuck words and shit. And so Bird says, like, you know, sorry about the phone or something. And the guy says, like, you just think you're better than everybody. And like, me and Bird like walking out of the place at this point, you know. This guy's like trying to start shit. He's like, you think you're better than everyone? And Bird's like, no, just you, you know, because now that you're acting this way. And this guy like follows us out the door, like trying to, you know, say more jabs and stuff. And he says something, he made some kind of like implication that Bird like sucks dick or something. And Bird was like, well, I'm actually gay, so fucking what are you gonna say about that? Are you being homophobic? And the guy like kind of rescinded, like realized he didn't want to seem homophobic, so he kind of like reworked his tack and like was like, oh no, that's not what I was saying. I was saying blah 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 blah. Like, again, we are still walking to the car. This man is hanging out the door of the brewery shouting at us like and finally Bird's just like, enjoy your stupid little hat. And then we got in the car and left. And I just couldn't, I can't get that guy's face out of my head. He seemed elated. He seemed elated to be having a fight. Like, he was literally he was really hoping he would get into an actual physical altercation, which would have been insane, because Bird is 24 and was like, you know, half a foot taller than this guy and twice as broad. He's like a little old, you know, not like little as in short, but not like a big guy. He didn't look strong. He just looked like kind of an old fuck boy. Couldn't believe his energy. We didn't see his car. He just hung out the door. Like, because remember, his wife is still back at the table inside. Like, his wife that he was just shouting about some other woman at for fucking 45 minutes before he decided Bird's phone was too loud, the second I got up to use the bathroom. So as soon as Bird was secluded, this guy started trying to cause a fight with Bird. He couldn't get a fight right away, so he went to the front desk to try to cause a whole altercation so that would happen. And then when he realized we were leaving, he tried to catch us on the way out and start a fight on the way out, hanging out the front door, waiting because he thinks that everybody operates the same way he does, that if you say enough insults, they're going to fly off the handle and run. Like, I really think he thought he was going to bait Bird into a fist fight. I'm like, dude, you're fucking old. You're gonna die. You would die. Like, why would you want that? Why would you invite that onto yourself? Are you insane? Like, obviously, yes. Obviously, he's insane based on all of the behavior that transpired there. But that's one of the wildest random encounters. Just like, he wasn't even drunk. He had just gotten there. You know, like they'd showed up and he was already mad, and he'd basically been shouting the whole fucking time. I think he broke to eat and then continued being upset, you know? It was fucking crazy. Sounds like he was projecting to Bird so he wouldn't land in hot water with his wife. Basic gaslighting tactic right there. His wife seemed like she was totally dissociated. Like, she's just so used to this being like her husband that she's totally given up, you know, on saying anything about it, doing anything about it. She never looked anywhere but forward. Like, she was just kind of looking like straight at him and just kind of mumbling like, yeah, I mean, well, and you know, well, if I mean, like, she's trying to talk really quiet so that she can bring his tone down, and it's just not working. Like, he is talking at full volume, full blast. You know, like, young girls are kind of looking over like, what the fuck is this dude doing? You know, like, what's going on? Out of control. Just an out of control individual. And it's like a classy place. It wasn't like a bar. It was a fucking Belgian style brewery where the meals cost $22 fucking dollars. Like, it wasn't a fucking dive, you know? Like, it wasn't a place you go to be rowdy and start problems. So it was fucking wild. Why aren't your comments showing? I don't know. I don't know what could be wrong. But I hope they come back. I saw Bird came in and had to ban like 5 people. I don't know what they were talking about or doing, but good on you. It always cracks me up when I see people get blocked and I didn't even notice what they were doing. That's how you know this is truly a well-guarded sanctuary here. Well, anyway, do you have the B word muted? I don't, but oh, jeez. It might be by default because YouTube, apparently you can't say kill in a super chat. You can't say pussy, so yeah, get Jannied. Yeah, it's probably just that YouTube won't let you say bitch. Hey Bird, if you're still there, what should I do? Where should I go? I walked around the battlefield a little bit, and then I didn't realize the battery was pretty much out of charge. So I came back to the car to charge my phone. Now it's at 67%. Damn, that's a fast charge. But where should I go? It is like an E tier swear word. It's crazy how baby. I mean, I literally marked this stream as not for kids, so you would think that that would mean something. Like, what the fuck is the point of the whole not for kids system if we're not going to be able to even swear like regular adults? Where should I go? I'm a child. How did I get here? You gotta get out of here. Get out of here. Run! Run! Oh yeah, if you want more on the title, I kind of did that rant already earlier. But I do think, you know, with bullying, there's something to fight back against. If you're just being ignored, what do you do with that? Where do you take that, you know? I do think the best way to disempower somebody is to ignore them. It's amazing how easily people can like get a rise out of somebody and take advantage of that. Like how easy it is to just trap people in an endless cycle of rage. Like if I were Jeremy the Quartering, I would also be using the tactic of continuing to ignore me until such a point that it could no longer be done. And the only way that's going to happen is if I become like massively popular. You know, it doesn't matter how much money I make. It doesn't matter how funny I am. Ultimately, the only thing that will make Jeremy the Quartering unable to ignore me any longer is if I was super popular. Because then it would start affecting his daily life, because he would be waking up to comments asking him why his face is so fuckable all the time. You know, he'd have other live streamers going after him because they'd realize that, like, oh, a popular streamer is talking about how fuckable this guy's face is. Let's all get on this bandwagon, you know. You know, he'd have more people taking apart his AI titles all the time. I barely scratched the surface with actually making fun of Jeremy the Quartering. Like, I've really focused on just his appearance, his title, his video titles, and the fact that he used to do crane games, which I've complimented. I've actually taken that as a compliment. I identify as female. Hello, Lee Gormley. I am a trans lady, if you couldn't tell. I would show you my estrogen, but I left it at home. So I'll have it later. Hey, it's Bird. My well, more than my boyfriend. He's my husband. Bird and I have been together for 4 years now. Going on 4 years. It'll be 4 years in October. Yeah, Bird's at work, but he's still in the stream. I'm guessing he's on. Oh wait, I forgot I was gonna come to you on break. Is it too late? Is your break end at 8:30? Because I found your box cutter. I could end the stream and come, but it'll take me like 10-15 minutes to get there. I assume your break's probably already over. I probably missed my shot. Whoops. I didn't realize how fucking late it was. Because I went back to camp, and at first I was just going to wait till the sun came up and I was going to stream myself packing up camp, but then it started drizzling and I was like, I need to pack this up before it starts raining. So I packed it all up, and then I came here and I walked around the battlefield until the phone started dying, and then I came into the car and I plugged it in, and I've been going for about 94 minutes. So that's what happened in the last hour and a half. So I guess it was 7 when I got here. Well, anyways, it ends in like 20 minutes, but don't worry about it. Dang, that's a long break. Is it like your lunch break or like just a regular break? Cool break. Bird, what should I do? Where should I go? Yeah, I'm at the Yorktown battlefield. This is both where the Revolutionary War and Civil War battles took place here. I mean, I could just go to another part of this area, I guess. I was walking around a bit, but the place I had originally wanted to go to wasn't open. I guess I could check back and see if they opened it up. Alright, let's go see. Put y'all in a safe place while I drive. So if the connection gets really spotty, it's going to be because I'm driving and I don't know if it's going to stay consistent. There's no real reason to end the stream, so let's go. Yorktown Historical Tour. I could follow the historical tour markers. Maybe it would make more sense to have this, like, let's do an out the window you can just see what's out there as I go. So you see this historical tour sign? We're gonna follow the historical tour signs. I'm taking y'all on the Yorktown historical tour. Let's go! As you can see, a very historical tractor is doing some very historical yard work over here. All right. Follow all the historical tour signs. Saw an army dude in a doorless Jeep just now. I forgot that if I'm streaming I can't play music, so now I'm just kind of in the silence. I guess I'll sing something. I'm just holding on to let you know what's given to me to hide behind the master's time and try to escape and to me. Oh, readouts 9 and 10 are over here, and it looks like they're open. All right, let's turn into these readouts. I don't really know what a redoubt is. I think it's some kind of, I don't know, battle thing. Communicating trench. All right. It's an interesting phrase. Communicating trench. It's a parking zone of some kind. There's like a lake over there, it looks like. Or is that's the York River over there, the trees. All right, readouts 9 and 10. Let's see what the sign says. The batteries were principally directed against the enemy's advanced redoubts on their extreme left to prepare them for the intended assault, said General George Washington's diary on October 14th, 1781. The completion of the Allied second siege line was blocked by a portion of the British outer works. Two detached earthen forts called Redoubts 9 and 10 located 400 yards in advance of the British inner defense line. Though General Washington considered Allied frontal attacks against the British inner defense line impractical and costly, Redoubts 9 and 10 were a different matter. General Washington called upon the infantry to capture these positions. On October 14th, Allied artillery bombarded Redoubts 9 and 10 most of the day, preparing for American and French assaults. At approximately 8 o'clock in the evening, the artillery briefly fell silent. Then several cannons fired in unison, the signal for the attack columns to move on their objectives. Follow the walkway to the redoubts and discover more of the story of the American and French attacks. Oh, I guess I gotta walk over to where that French flag is, probably. Last evening, the enemy carried my two advanced redoubts on the left by storm, and during the night have included them in their second parallel. My situation now becomes very critical, said General Charles Lord Cornwallis to General Sir Henry Clinton, October 1st, 1781. So, sounds like this is a place where Washington really fucked that guy up. Let's park and go look at these redoubts. Do I only play music from my phone? Well, it's the only place I have music at the moment. I don't have a separate MP3 player or anything like that. Check this gorgeous fucking place out. Well, right now you can't see me, but I can see your chats. And it's very windy here. I did not expect that. Alright, the second siege line. The low earthworks on either side are part of the French and American advance line. Construction was started when Allied artillery fire had sufficiently weakened the British defenses. The line was completed after the capture of redoubts 9 and 10. Okay, let's cross this little rickety old bridge. It's not actually rickety at all. It's incredibly solid. What a nice bridge. It looks like some kind of giant rope or metal over there. Maybe that's what a redoubt is. Oh no, those are those spiky things like you have around your fort, you know? Yeah, we're gonna go check out some of those spiky fort things. Good morning, Gary. Hello, everybody. We're out here in the Yorktown battlefield, retracing the steps of the Revolutionary War, literally in a spot where George Washington creamed a couple of these fucking redoubts that the Brits had set up and added them to his parallel, whatever the fuck that means. So we're gonna go check that out. There's some safety cones letting me know about this big dip here, I guess, just in case you're a biker. Definitely seems like a place people bike. And that flag. What is that flag? It's just like a blue flag with a bunch of white stars. Hopefully there's a thingy that explains what this flag is. Very cool looking field though. Now I have been here before. I think even to these redoubts. But that was when Bert and I lived here. We lived nearby to here in Yorktown 2 years ago with my Uncle Johnny. And so we came here. Ah yes, this is the one. This is the plaque. On this line at the Siege of Yorktown on October 14th, 1781 at night, the battalions of Guillemette, Hamilton, and Lawrence of the Light Infantry Division of Major General Marquis de Lafayette under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Hamilton, with unloaded muskets and fixed bayonets, scaled the parapets and gallantly captured Redoubt No. 10, which formed the extreme left outlying defense of the British, and so hastened the surrender of Yorktown in the last fighting of troops of General George Washington, erected by the Sons of the Revolution in the state of New York. So this is literally where they did, "The bullet, touch your gun! Take the bullet, touch your gun!" Redoubt 10. The column marched in silence, with guns unloaded and in good order, many no doubt thinking that less than 1/4 of a mile would finish the journey of life. The Marquis de Lafayette selected the light infantry companies from his Continental Army Division to carry out the American attack on Redoubt 10. Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Hamilton led the assaulting force of 400 Americans against the 70 British defenders. Concerned in accidental musket firing would give away their advance, the light infantry approached the redoubt with unloaded weapons. The British discovered the attack column as it neared the redoubt and vigorously defended their position. The Americans surged through the abattis obstructions surrounding the redoubt, then through holes in the palisaded log walls within the trench, breaching the top of the redoubt, and within 10 minutes of mostly hand-to-hand combat secured their objective. Said Alexander Hamilton in his report to Lafayette on the action, noted that the British were entitled to the acknowledgement of an honorable defense. So in other words, they did better than he thought, and maybe he kind of regretted the whole bullets out of your gun thing. Like, well, they found us anyway, and they kind of killed a lot of our guys. Maybe I should have had my guns loaded. I'm not going to tell them that, though. It sounds a lot cooler. The way, look at that. Look at that lone boat out on that shimmering, gorgeous, wow. Wow, I wish this looked as good on camera as it does in real life, but fucking A. What a thing. What a thing to behold. Look at that. Holy shit. Now that's a heck of a thing. I get a screen cap of this, so then I'll remember it. case I don't go back to this stream. Very cool, very clean. I like it a lot. Alright, that's enough for this area. We saw the bullets out your gun thing. We're not going to top that over here. Certainly not going to top that unbelievable visage over there of just magic. Absolute magic. Having a good morning. Hello, Victoria. I've been up for almost 5 hours already. Can you believe it? I truly do wake up early and I slap 3 rappers by daybreak. I think I even slapped some rappers this morning. I think I said, yeah, I was complaining before even the break of dawn. I was bitching this morning about too many Sweet Chin Music references. Rappers, we get it. You like wrestling. You don't, and you make music. You like wrestling, you make music, I get it. I remember fucking 2013, Milo was like, I still smile when I hear that Sweet Chin Music or something like that, which was a clever line because Sweet Chin Music is an attack move. It is not a song. So saying that he hears the Sweet Chin Music, clever. That's the first time I heard a Sweet Chin Music reference in a rap song. Now it's happened a number of times, but of course, most recent and most famously, Kendrick Lamar, Sweet Chin Music and I won't pass the ox. Now, when I heard I won't pass the ox, I also considered this kind of feels like a reference to JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown scaring the hoes, where, you know, what the fuck is that? Give me that ox cord. And then Danny Brown and Bruiser Wolf put out a song where Danny Brown's referencing Sweet Chin Music. And I'm like, all right, I've officially hit Sweet Chin Music saturation. I don't need to hear it again. Milo's was clever. Kendrick's sounded good. Danny's, I didn't need it, but whatever. If he really needs to make a Sweet Chin Music reference, it's fine. Maybe he feels left out, you know, feels jealous. Maybe he recorded that before Kendrick recorded Not Like Us, and just it got bigger, you know. Danny Brown did it on a Bruiser Wolf song, by the way, the song I'm an Instrument. Really good song. Good Danny Brown feature, but I'm tired of the Sweet Chin Music. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the wrestling references, but they gotta update them. Like, I'm pretty sure that's not even like a modern move. Like, I don't think that's like a thing a guy is still doing, right? Is it? I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't keep up with wrestling, but I feel like there's a lot of... I feel like Nino is the only rapper I know of who's like referencing what's happening in wrestling currently, or like Mega Ran or something. Like, people who actually are following wrestling still and not just like referencing wrestling that they grew up with, you know? It's got to keep your references up to date. Can't be Sweet Chin Music fucking forever. We've got enough Sweet Chin Music. Anyway, let's move on to another place, yeah? There's this finishing move, but the newer generation will use a very similar move called a super kick as a pretty standard non-finisher. I see. So yeah, has anybody made a bar about super kicking you? Like, you could get super kicked by a super killer. Vito, you can have that one for free. Alright. Let's find another place on this historical tour to park and look around, yeah? Also, if anybody has anything they want me to rant about, just hit me up with them super chats. I'll read them when I park again. Probably not going to read anything while I'm... Actually, I forgot I was doing the out the window, letting you watch the tour thing. Yeah, let's do that more. By the way, yeah, the car beeps at me when I back up. Like, just to remind me that I'm in reverse, I guess. I kind of fucking hate it. by a beautiful, beautiful battlefield at sunrise. Both of us knowing love is a battlefield. Alright, the historical tour appears to continue straight. Go straight. That's a Sengoku Basara reference. Probably the only time you'll hear me reference going straight all month. Very superstition, riding on the wall. 13-month-old baby. I don't remember the next line. Oh, this looks awesome. Deep forest. Fuck deforestation. It's time for some deep forestation. What's this sign say? American Approach Road. The steep banks of this ravine gave American troops protection from the British cannon fire as they moved up to build and man the siege line. French troops used a similar cover to the west. Well, all right. I should really keep my phone plugged in while I'm in the car so that it continues to charge. Let's go. That's one boggy ass, marshy ass, swampy ass river of some sort. Oh God, I need it, 'cause I was wrong again. Take me to the river and make me clean again. Oh my God, let me see again. Oh my God. Wormley Creek Crossing. The earth dam in front of you creates Wormley Pond, which existed in 1781 when Augustine Moore operated a grist mill here. American troops marched over the dam regularly as they moved to and from the siege line. Wow, they were marching over a dam in 1700s. Cray cray, look at all that. Wow, what a fucking pretty ass lake. Pretty ass lake. I like, whenever I see, oh, this actually looks fucking sick. Oh, this must be the dam they were crossing then. Alright, look at that shit. It's a whole ass dam. God damn. I like reading names of places in the voice from Diddy Kong Racing. Yeah, Diddy Kong Racing! And like, Frost Peak. Or, for example, Surrender Field. Morehouse. And I can always hear the level select music in my brain when I do it, like do 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 crossing this little ass fucking weight limit 5 tons bridge over here. What a gorgeous place. Do 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 do. of centuries. Just ahead, the road climbs to the level ground above the mill pond. The ravine-like depression in which it follows represents more natural wear from horses, carriages, and wagons than any recent grading. It is a visible reminder that the roadway here has been in use nigh on 300 years. So basically, yeah, this part of the road is like almost 10 feet lower than like the cliffside next to it, mostly because it has been walked on so much for 300 years and driven on and everything. So like, yeah, we have seriously eroded this stretch. Still got that menu music in my head. Ugh. Driving through the woods of Yorktown, Virginia, seeing all the places British people died. French and American troops made America here one night. American encampment. Big sign. The American troops encamped in a wood within a mile of the enemy's left line, and the French troops encamped on their right, said Lieutenant William Feltman, Pennsylvania Battalion, 71. On September 28, 1781, as General Washington's army marched within a mile of Yorktown, the various brigades were assigned locations for their camps, hospitals, and artillery parks. Some of those camps filled these woods as soldiers carried out essential activities for the siege. Washington described in his diary the work done behind the scenes prior to the construction of the first Allied siege. Much diligence was used in debarking and transporting the stores, cannon, and I don't know what that stands for, from Treble's Landing, distant 6 miles on James River, to camp, which for want of teams went on heavily, and in preparing Fasins, Gabbins and Company. Routine tasks such as guard duty, equipment, setting up tents, and preparing meals also occupied the soldiers' days as they prepared. Hopefully I'm back. I lost connection for a second there. I am getting pretty deep woods. Do not have my copy of Manhunt by Gretchen Felker Martin on me in the car. It's possible I've got it at the house, but I can't remember. If not, then it's in Kentucky, but I'm not sure. So I brought a bunch of books, mostly manga, from Kentucky to my parents' house, but I'm afraid to stop now because I feel like somehow stopping is why I lost connection there. There's probably just random dead zones all throughout these woods. There are a couple of books I have on me, though. What I do have is Jorge Luis Borges' Collected Fictions, which is a massive book of short stories. And I have been thinking about reading that on stream, so if y'all would be interested, maybe I'll stop and read some Borges somewhere. I also have another book, I can't remember the name of it, that's just been floating around the car that I had never heard of, and I don't know where it came from, but it sounded really good based on the description on the back. But I want the trans zombie book. Well, too bad I don't have it on me. I have Jorge Luis Borges, though, which is objectively one of the greatest writers of all time. Look at all that shit. Ain't that pretty? This seems like a fun place to stop. What does this say? Marquis de Lafayette and his division. Here we are at last before Yorktown, and our operations will soon be noisy. On April 1781, with a developing British military campaign in Virginia, Washington sent the Marquis de Lafayette with a detachment of troops to protect the state. At age 23, Lafayette was the youngest of the major generals in the Continental Army. Damn. Always outnumbered by the British, Lafayette occasionally sparred with the enemy while keeping Washington, who was in New York, informed of the war in Virginia. When Cornwallis moved his army to Yorktown, Lafayette provided Washington with accurate military intelligence that helped Washington plan for the siege as he moved his forces southward to join Lafayette. On September 14th, 1781, Washington reached Williamsburg, where he, Lafayette, and his small army awaited. With the arrival of the rest of the American and French forces, Washington consolidated Lafayette's regiments into his army and placed Lafayette in command of a division of the Continental Army. During the siege, Lafayette's soldiers spent most of their time assisting with earthwork construction and manning the trenches. He was particularly proud of his light infantry troops, when on the night of October 14th, they successfully stormed British Redoubt 10. Lafayette described to a friend that during the assault, my heart was beating for the reputation of my light infantry. With the British surrender, Lafayette wrote his wife, I would be finicky indeed if I were not pleased with the end of my campaign in Virginia. Finicky indeed. I would be finicky indeed if I were not pleased with my victory. What a fucking way of speaking. Crossroads coming. Oh, big truck. Oh. Your fave girl says, boring? Well, do something else, dog. I'm on a historical tour of Yorktown right now, and also talking to chat when I stop. This is where America happened. It's where it all started. Can't really see anything over there for the time being. York. Surrender Field. Alright, we're getting to the field where the surrender happened, I guess. Pay park entrance fee at visitor center. I'm not doing any of that. Ah, this is the building I originally wanted to go to, though. I was trying to find this place. So this is excellent. This is definitely where we're getting out. There's like this crazy ass bridge here that I really like. I want to check it out. Battlefield Tour Road of encampment areas. Look out, bike dog. I'm going that way, dog. Get the fuck out of my way, stupid ass biking old man. Okay. Let's go walk around and look at a bridge. All right, we out here once again in a nice, pretty place where a lot of people died. I guess people have died in most of the pretty places, right? Like, there's not a lot of places people go that at some point people haven't died. All right, let's learn about Surrender Field. On the 17th, at about 10 o'clock, the British raised a white flag on their walls, beat a parley on their drums, and the firing ceased on all sides. Then the terms of surrender were agreed upon between Washington and Cornwallis, and on the afternoon of the 19th, the British Army marched out on the main road and surrendered prisoners of war. On October 19th, 1781, British troops commanded by Lieutenant General Charles Lord Cornwallis marched from the heavily damaged Yorktown and surrendered on this field to the Allied French and American armies under the command of General George Washington. Cornwallis, pleading illness, did not accompany his men. Oh, pussy. The pavilion ahead overlooks the scene of the laying down of weapons. The short, wheelchair-accessible trail leads past exhibits that describe the spectacle, mood, and pageantry of that momentous event. The British defeat at Yorktown was the culminating battle of the Revolutionary War. So, we are here. We're heading up to that pavilion. And we'll be able to look out over the place where America started, officially. The British said, fuck it, it's yours. I just looked down and see Taco Sniffer was hidden by Bird Stork. I'm like, I don't know what that guy said or did, but I'm glad Taco Sniffer is not around anymore. That just doesn't sound like a name I even needed around. Alright, check this shit out. There's some kind of fucking ancient, Uncharted style. Oh, it's cannons. Oh, neat. Yeah, this fucking structure is cooler than shit. This actually isn't the bridge I was thinking of. This is a whole different thing. And I believe if I press this button, it'll summon some kind of voice.
This is the place. On this field, October 19, 1781, the soldiers of General Charles Lord Cornwallis' army surrendered their arms and regimental flags. They came after 3 weeks of siege, cut off by land and sea. They were unable to bear the intense hail of American and French cannon shot with bombs. They were both British and German, Red-Coat veterans, and their auxiliary troops, known to Americans as Hessians. The British Army came with flags cased, and bands playing melancholy marches. Their uniforms were new, but the ranks were no longer smart and orderly. Some men bit their lips to hold back tears. Some were sobbing. Some had been drinking. For over a mile, the column stretched along the road from Yorktown, moving between the files of the victors, the American army on the right and the French army on the left. By this field, the men of the defeated army saw scores of civilians drawn by news of the surrender, all staring at the slow column of soldiers. Around the field, French cavalrymen sat
There's
on their
a
horses.
ton of bird nests up here.
Allied officers looked for Cornwallis, but he was nowhere to be seen. He was back in Yorktown, too ill to lead his troops. Instead, the British Army was...
Is there a way to turn this off? Now I feel like I'm bothering the birds.
And now,
Well,
one regiment at a time.
whatever.
British and
Apparently this is a bird hotel now.
their weapons. Officers shouted commands.
I don't think they're bats. They're little. They look like Tailo, like the Pokemon Tailo, like the little red patch. They're like blue backed, red patch on the chest, and then white underneath the red, like Tailo. Which I assume means they're swallows, right? Isn't Tailo just a swallow? I don't know. Some bumblebees and shit in these bush. Dragonflies.
12 years would pass before a treaty was signed in Paris, but the last major battle had been fought. The American patriots, with the aid of the French, had won their independence, and this is where it ended. Within 25 miles of Jamestown, the first permanent English settlement in America.
How long ago do you think they installed that speaker and like that button thing? You know, like how long do you think that's been going? How often do you think anybody presses that button besides me? Like, a lot of birds living in there. Pretty good audio quality for the 1700s. That's funny. I would bet like the 50s. The architecture definitely feels like it can't be too, like, I don't know how old this type of architecture is. Like, it makes me think it's certainly not 100 years old. There's no way this is more than 100 years old. It's definitely newer than that. But I don't know how new is reasonable to think it is. Okay, so this looks pretty modern. Like, this is at least the 2000s, if not the 2010s, this sign right here. And it's even got, like, there's the National Park Service is still using this logo, so that's pretty new. But, like, the structure itself has got to be a bit older. But it doesn't look super old. Definitely not compared to some of the other shit around here. Like, if I go down into the heart of Yorktown, you'll see some old shit. I don't think that speaker's from the 90s. I think it's got to be older than that. I'm thinking the 70s, because it's just so, like, grainy and grating sounding. But I don't know. Again, I don't know that much about audio history necessarily. So, but I know in the 90s, shit didn't sound that crappy. I was there. I was at least there for the 90s. We had pretty good sound back then. Wonder how old the zigzag wood fences are. I honestly think they replaced those. I think they, like, because, like, this place is incredibly maintained. Like, they're mowing all the lawns. They keep all the signage relatively. Like, there are some parks where, like, the signs have, like, been so sun bleached they're not readable anymore because nobody's updating it. Like, it was a tourist attraction 50 years ago, now nobody cares. This place is still popular enough. I mean, look, it's 9 o'clock on a Monday, and there's 6 cars just in this lot. Like, that's kind of impressive, honestly. It is Monday, right? I'm not fucking totally off my rocker here. I'm pretty sure it's Monday, yeah. Bird's got the day off tomorrow, so tonight, because he gets off at 2, and then we're probably going to hang out a little bit somewhere nearby, because the traffic gets really bad at the time of day that we would probably be heading home. But once we do get home, I'm thinking we should have some kind of anime marathon or something. We should do some kind of big watch along with the audience thing. I think that would be fun. Alright, let's move on to another part of this area. It's lasagna day, yes. Where's my lasagna? It's me, Garfield. I just wanted to eat some lasagna. Where is my lasagna? Speaking of, I'm thirsty. I'm thinking it might be time to find somewhere I can stop for a beverage. Living in the beverage, baby. I got water on me. That's it. But first we're gonna finish this here historical tour. So we haven't quite finished it yet. a bunch of people are walking in the middle of the fucking road. They parted like the Red Sea before the Moses of my vehicle. She looked kind of embarrassed. They have a dog though. Good dog. Y'all have been dodged like a caravan. One of the times that we've been here, we saw a ton of deer running around these fields. So I'm surprised I haven't seen any deer yet. Maybe it's too hot for them right now. Maybe they hang out more in like the fall or the spring. I don't know. I'm just surprised I haven't seen one single goddamn deer. Yourself away. This is a terrible place to have to look to the right. Hey, wait a minute, I've made it back to where I was this morning. This is the field I was walking around in when I started this live stream. I'm gonna park because the guy behind me is seriously riding my ass. Probably because he's in a fucking Audi, and that's how they are. But, you know, I'm gonna pull off and let that guy get around me. This is literally where we started the stream. It was right over there by that tree. That's where I started it. So I ended up back here. Pretty sure I was just following the historical tour the whole time, but oh, I think I was supposed to, I see, I was supposed to make a turn here to continue the historical tour as opposed to restarting it. Back down Gooseley Road. We'll see if they opened up the thing I had wanted to check out when I got here. Is it open? It is open. Yes. I literally came here too early. This gate was not open. All right, we made it in. Oh shit! I got a $2 super chat from Temp Anon. Hold on, I'm in a place I can stop. How do I feel more of a connection to history? Well, I guess think about what you have in your life right now that matters to you and look into the history of that. Like, I am pretty random about history. Like, I've never cared about it in like a broad, like, oh, history is just interesting kind of a way. I happen to live here, so it's like, oh wow, this is where like America started, you know. And in particular, being that Bird and I like Hamilton, the play, you know, the album based on the play. When Bird and I first met, he was like still way into Hamilton, listening, like kind of introduced me to it, and you know, we listened to it a lot. And so coming here, where like the events of that story literally took place, was pretty interesting. And otherwise, it's just a beautiful location. But I'm always interested in like, how did things get this way? Like, to me, if I see something, well, I finished this loop, but I didn't expect this to just be a small loop. I expected there to be like an obvious parking spot. I don't know if I missed the attraction here, or if this is just where the redoubts are. But anyway, yeah, like, for instance, here's a recent history I looked into. Bob Evans. In Ohio, there's this family restaurant you see basically all over the place. And it's not just in Ohio, but like the states surrounding Ohio. And just like at a glance, it just looks like any generic family restaurant. But like when you keep seeing it pop up, you're like, well, okay, what makes Bob Evans not a Friendly's or a Ruby Tuesdays or a, you know, whatever the fuck else thing looks just like it? And so I start looking into the history of it, and, you know, of course, it's the founder is a guy named Bob Evans, and it's like, there's a lot of, like, learning about the history of any kind of big company will teach you a lot about the place that it comes from and like what was needed at the time, you know, like what kind of, how history has changed, like how business has changed over history, how, you know, the environment changing or the law changing or people's needs changing has made it so these companies have had to change to meet demand, you know, and adapt and survive. So I just get interested in learning the history of like things that I interact with. Like if it's a cool park I go to, I want to know, how did it get this way? If it's a restaurant I like, I'm like, why does this restaurant exist? You know, I'm just always interested in like, why are things the way they are? And history is the biggest answer to that question that you get. You know, history is not necessarily super like accurate all the time, because history is a record that somebody made of a thing that happened. So like, you know, there's the reality of what really happened, but history is not that. History is not the reality of what happened. History is the story of what happened in reality. And that story has storytellers. So that's another part of the intrigue, is like, sometimes history can be interesting to learn from just gathering like, you know, figuring out the historian's perspective, like what was this person's outlook. I look at all of my content as historical in a sense, because even though the stuff I'm saying is not like as important as what I'm showing, like this is what this place objectively looks like right now. And like, granted, the perspective of what a camera can see, especially with a lens pointed in an odd direction, is, you know, limited and doesn't give you the whole story, but nonetheless, you can get a sense of what this place looks like in this moment just by looking at it. So I'm always, on some level, hoping that my content historical record, that like, even if you ignored everything I was saying, there is still value in it, in that like you can go back and see what was going on, you know, in the world, what the world looked like at this time. You know, if like 500 years from now, there's a fucking, the whole world's been raised by nuclear apocalypse and like people fucking worship any old video that shows what the world used to look like, and it's like, oh, this Trixie person fucking recorded hundreds of hours of everything. So I have a pretty good sense of what things were like at these places at this time. Stream's barking. That is not a surprise, but we'll find somewhere to stop soon. We're getting towards actual town. Actually, like Yorktown, the town. In fact, historic Yorktown. Look at that. All right, let's go into it. Trolley past me. I wish I had turned the camera around. Noticed it quick enough to turn the camera around. Just past the courthouse on the left. There's a beautiful big golden retriever. Alright, well, I guess we're gonna walk around Yorktown because it's very uncrowded right now. I've actually never seen this place so underpopulated, so this will be interesting. Damn, most of these spots are reserved. There's exactly one spot here that is not a reserved spot, so I guess I'm taking that one. Oh! I went too far forward. Could not see the curve there. Okay, we parked. What do I need? Battery needs to be plugged into the... Well, this is already dead, right? Yeah, that's not going to do me any good. whatever, we got the amount of battery we got, and then we'll be back to the car. All right. Nice pants, Gen 1er, thank you. They're my Gen 1 pants. All right. Look at that onto which we have emerged. Wow, pretty place. Wow. So nice. Let's go explore a little bit of Yorktown, yeah? Pigeon. Bunch of pigeons. Cool cove. Should I head left or right? Put it to a vote. Oh, hold on, I can do a poll, right? Left? Alright, we're going left. Rugged men and women have made their living on the Chesapeake Bay and its rivers for centuries. Known as watermen, they hand down skills learned by observing water, climate, and wildlife. Consequently, younger generations learn time-honored maritime traditions from their elders. The work is often dangerous, especially during bad weather. But affection and respect for the marine environment motivates those who work on boats. Watermen harvest fish, oysters, crabs, clams, and scallops. They operate ferries, tugboats, police boats, and research vessels. Thomas Jefferson, who promoted the idea of a school of instruction for our Navy, recognized the valuable skills developed by working watermen and referred to their industries as providing good instruction. More than 200 years later, watermen are still seen here as they go about their work on the York River. And there's also a ferry and a story about the ferry. I'm not reading all that though. Belvin Marine custom boat building. They build custom boats here. History of a lighthouse, I guess. What was the poll about? What direction I go? I went left as per the poll's instruction, which was smart because I would not have gone this direction at all otherwise, and it will not take me very long to reach the end of going this way and to go the other way. But all right, now we're heading left. This is old historic Yorktown, the town where the Revolutionary War ended, where parts of the Civil War were fought, and what is now an incredibly peaceful, incredibly rich area. It's pretty fun to walk around. It's very nice, very pleasant. Can't use these docks though. They're owned by the Watermen's Museum. Ah, here we go, Chesapeake Bay Gateways. So we are here. We are right here. I live here. Birdworks somewhere in this whole area. So I'm staying here. This is what they call, people from down here call this the peninsula, because as you can see, it really takes a long time before it connects back to land. And this is why Virginia is such a unique nightmare to drive around in, because like if you live here and you want to get to Kentucky, logically you would think you were making a straight shot this way. But as you can see, all these rivers make it actually incredibly difficult. So instead, what you do is you take the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel, which Bird uses for his daily commute, which goes right from here to here, and you go all the way up the peninsula until you get to Richmond. This is like an hour-and-a-half long drive. And then from Richmond, you can either split north and head towards DC, or split back down and cut to Cumberland Gap, which is the only way through the Appalachians to Kentucky. I know all this because we do it all the time. So, yeah, these are all the red spots are places where we basically parked the boats. This is Jamestown, the very first settlement. So when the Brits first came to the U.S., they would have just sailed right up this cove, right up, well, not that river. They would have sailed right up this cove, right up this river, and stopped right there. And that's Jamestown, which is less than half an hour from where I am, which is right here in Yorktown. So yeah, we are very much in the cradle of United States civilization. That's another map going all the way up to Chesapeake Bay. Oh shit, there's a huge ass boat coming in. That thing is going faster than fuck. Hold on, let me stand still so you can get a perspective on its speed. You grew up in an equivalent location of Sydney, Australia. That's cool. Yeah, the funny thing about living in Virginia is in our schools they break it up into like state history versus U.S. history. But if you live in the first state, you kind of just learn all the same things again. It's like, oh yeah, you told us all this when you told us this history of Virginia. Now we're learning the history of the country. It's the same thing. So that's why I'm so well versed in early American. Let's go ahead and follow this beach. This is a very inviting looking spot. Even though my holy ass shoes are gonna get full of fucking sand, I swear to God, you all know. Everybody knows. Everybody who watches the stream is very well abreast of my financial situation. Everybody knows that about 2 weeks ago I had $40 to my name, that I made a bet with that anime snob. It wasn't even a bet, it's more of a challenge, that I would have more money in the bank than he did by the end of the year. He had $8 at the time. I don't know what he's got right now. I have no idea what kind of holdings Snob is holding on to. Right now in my bank I have $95, so we've gone up a little chunk. I've got 220 coming from Patreon that I've withdrawn. There might be more coming from Patreon later this month, but I'm not sure. So I'll have like $200. But as we all know, that on the 22nd, I will suddenly be granted with this magical, unbelievable wellspring of $2,000 that I made on Super Chats last month, thanks to all of you. So once that happens, I think it might be imperative that I purchase a new pair of shoes, because I walk in most of these vlogs and these shoes are fucked. Part of it's my fault, putting them on wrong all the time, fucked up the heel on the inside. You know, I had pretty high expectations of these shoes' durability because they are like $150 trail running shoes. And they're great for what they do. They're good for trail running. But I expected them to take a little bit more of a beating. I've had them for about 3 years. I mean, that's a pretty good length of time to have shoes, but they have been kind of fucked up for most of the last year, so I don't know. Gary always with $2 says, don't blow it all on weed. Rant about Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock, I've been there once. That's the other landing spot of early settlers in Massachusetts. It's kind of similar to here, but a little bit more touristy. Like Yorktown feels like it's a tourist destination for people who already live in the area, not like for people to come from out of town. There's not like a bunch of hotels here or anything like that, like there is at Virginia Beach. It just is like a tiny little historic district that has some really nice like restaurants and bars and stuff. Whereas Plymouth is like a whole town, like a whole little beachside. I mean, Yorktown is a town, but it's the tiniest fucking town. It is the littlest ass town. It's very clearly heavily regulated. Like if you want to live here, you're basically gonna have like a relationship with the housing board. You know, like it's clearly been preserved to be a certain way, and everything here is pretty expensive. Plymouth, lots of little knickknack shops, you know, lots of little candy stores, lots of I mean, there's like a whole city there pretty much, as opposed to just a tiny town. But it is like the actual rock, like Plymouth Rock is this mythical boulder because it's where like they wrote the number like of the year that we arrived. Now if you go to Plymouth Rock, first of all, yeah, it's a boulder. It's not particularly huge. It's like, you know, it's a boulder. It's a pretty there's nothing special about the rock itself. It's housed in like a little gazebo, and it even notates that like the original carving of the number had to be redone because it was eventually like eroded or the rock broke or something. Like it's not even the original Plymouth Rock, basically, in function. So, you know, kind of a lame spot to go to see like a historical thing. But you know, it's a quaint little town. You can walk around, eat some. You got a lot of saltwater taffy there. I remember getting a whole ton of saltwater taffy and just having it around for a long time. Until it was all eaten, you know. There's a beach. You can go to the beach. So yeah, it's a little bit similar to here, but a little bit more of like a regular city and less of like a quaint little manufactured town where like most of the buildings are still there from fucking the 17 or 1800s. That's what it's like here. Look how pretty. As for spending it all on weed, you know, luckily weed's gotten cheaper by the year. And the place I get it from carries vapes now, which is kind of been a lifesaver because flower goes too quick. It's not effective enough for how much coughing it causes and how much, you know, like I feel like it takes we spent most of the summer and most of last year, most of the summer and fall, like traveling around the West, you know, the Midwest, the Northwest, the Southwest, places where weed is legal and sold openly in dispensaries. And some of those places it's a little more expensive, some places it's cheaper, but ultimately they all have vapes, and vapes allow you to just kind of, you know, take a couple puffs and be on your way, feel all right. You don't have to like, if you're like making a thing out of smoking flower, it's like you're gonna sit there and you're gonna like, you know, grind stuff and, you know, put your music on and have a whole time about it. And because it, you know, it takes a while. Like just, you cannot even smoke that, you can't smoke quickly enough to get high, because it'll burn your lungs so badly, you know, like it takes forever. That's what I'm trying to say. It takes forever, you cough more, and it costs more. So I was kind of trapped, stuck with flower for a little while, because even though it's legal here in Virginia, there are not what's the word I'm looking for? Non-medical, recreational. There's not recreational dispensaries yet. There's only medical ones. So my mom can go buy weed at the store. She's got a medical card. I probably could get one, but I don't know. It's really expensive to buy from those places anyways. So, you know, the friend of a friend that I was purchasing from only had flour for the last few months, and I was killing a lot of time sitting in the garage with my mom, listening to her rant about whatever she's upset about, you know, while we sit there and smoke and listen to music. This is fine and all, but it's too time consuming, costs too much money. So they started selling vapes, and I was like, oh, thank fucking God. This is what's gonna get me back up and on the move. Like, I won't be sitting around in a garage fucking smoking. I'll be walking around outside, live streaming and smoking. Or, you know, not smoking, because I don't feel like I have to be close to a garage in order to get high. You know, I can just do it wherever I want. And that kind of liberates you to, you know, find yourself in a scenario that maybe is so involving you don't even realize how long it's been since you last had a smoke. Like me right now. Edibles equals no coughing. That's true, but it's a different effect. I smoke almost exclusively sativa because I'm trying to get more done all the time. I'm never really trying to relax, you know? So it's very rare that I would want to smoke. Like, smoking an indica is gonna put me like in a state of relaxation that is uncomfortable. Like, uh-oh, I can't do something if I want to, you know? I'm too comfortable. Like, sativa, it makes it like you don't want to be bored, you know? Like, oh, all right, I feel ready to do stuff now, you know? That's usually how I feel when I get high off of sativa. Like, I'm back in the action. I'm ready to go. This place has sushi and rolls, Japanese soft drinks, water, and soda. Sounds cool and it looks cute, but I bet it's really expensive. Okay, they got a menu on the outside. How is this possible? 6-piece nigiri, $22. Seaweed, $9. Not in my wildest dreams would I pay for that. So yeah, that should give you a sense of what kind of place this is. Which is to say, out of my price range. Absolutely ludicrously out of my price range. I've never been here that it wasn't like crowded too. Like this, again, it is 9 a.m. on a Monday. I'm sure that by like, you know, by the afternoon, this place will be slammed. But look at how nice these fucking places. That's a Ben & Jerry's right there. Green Mountain Coffee. And then just some gorgeous houses. Those have to be millions of dollars. Like, just to be up on that hill with that view, that's one house. Yeah, that has gotta be a $5 million house. There's no fucking way. The balcony is pristine. That fucking uniform balcony all the way. Oh, it's not uniform. Oh, never mind. Oh, it's so close. Why wouldn't they just connect it? Why wouldn't they just connect that last bit there? Y'all see what I'm talking about, right? Hold on. Look at this. You see how the balcony is going all the way across and then there's like a gap? Why? Finish the balcony. It's so close to perfect. This is why I can't be rich, because nothing would make me happy. I would just be complaining. I would buy a $5 million house and then bitch about the balcony. Shivity Divity is willing to get you sushi, but you have to review it. No, we're not. No universe will I spend $22 on sushi. You give me $22, I'm gonna go buy fucking 10 other things somewhere else. I'm not gonna go waste it. I've never even heard of anything like that. Not anywhere. But after my anime essays, you gotta go to the We Watch Anime channel. We Watch Anime. go to We Watch Anime, youtube.com/We Watch Anime. I don't think that's actually something you can type in. But I do anime analysis videos exclusively on the We Watch Anime channel now. I am not uploading them to this channel ever again. This is purely my shitpost live stream cults channel, where I try to indoctrinate people into keeping me alive, pretty much. Yeah, I guess that's it. It's the Trixie's Life is Worth It stream. Anyway, this is Yorktown Beach. I bet, done, no problem. Yeah, there's the next video that I'm posting there is going to be Jujutsu Kaisen versus Evangelion storytelling spirals. And I have to finish that edit either tonight or tomorrow, depending on what kind of time we end up getting home. But pretty much as soon as I can do another desktop stream. Alright, well, I gotta check this out. I had not even noticed this last time I was here. But there's a cool ass staircase going up a hill, so this needs investigation. Historic Main Street right up here. All right.
Good morning.
Morning. That guy's wife was definitely waiting for him at the bottom while he did a quick run up and down, trying to get his steps in, you know, trying to lose that weight. She's leaving his ass behind. She's like, "You're so fast, you'll catch up, you old bastard." Anyway, continuing up. All right. Wow, I can't believe I hadn't noticed this at all. Oh, it smells like flowers here. Wow. Even though there's a trash can right there, what I smell is the flowers. That's nice. This is a pleasant ass. Look at this. This is somebody's backyard. They hang out here with all the gorgeous birds and shit, come through this wreathed door and walk down this must be millions of dollars worth of house, right? Like, crazy. Crazy nice place. I'd fucking strangle a baby to live in that house. Everyone in chat's like, "You'd strangle a baby for no reason." Shut up. Lovely flowers, Laputia. We're gonna see even more. There's a lot of beautiful flowers around these rich people houses out here. It's gotta be like a really particular kind of person that like has the amount of money to afford to live here and also wants to live in like an old house, you know? Like, I don't want to use all my money to buy the most modern, you know, up-to-date, high-tech fucking mansion. I want to buy the ancient house in the middle of historical Yorktown. But I can't blame them. This place is fucking beautiful. Like, money notwithstanding, I might be that weirdo that would be like, yeah, this is the spot for my millions to settle down. I love nature streams and rich houses streams. Well, I got more where that comes from. I love walking through rich neighborhoods. Nothing makes you feel safer than walking through a rich neighborhood, because you know that they built it where nobody was gonna fuck with them. Now granted, sometimes I get a little nervous, like, uh-oh, maybe they know I don't belong here. They're gonna sick the dogs on me. But it's yet to happen. And now we're at the Arts Foundation. I think I've been in some of these buildings. I've definitely checked out some of the little cutesy shops around here. This looks incredibly pleasant. All kinds of people are having brunch. What is this place? Petite Cafe Outdoor Dining Room. Mob Jack. What a fucking name for a cute little cafe. Mob Jack? Sounds threatening. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've been here and it's a little expensive for us to go in there. I think we bought coffee here once, but it's cool because it is just like an old house. The way old houses are built are like mini labyrinths. Like there's way too many narrow passageways and like sudden staircases and stuff. People were just smaller back then. They didn't have the access to beef we got now. Fucking free range beef all day. This is an old place. So old as balls. Anybody remember that? Anybody read Hark a Vagrant here? Old web comic, probably still going. I don't know. You can find it's popular enough. It's had books like published that you can find at Barnes and Noble. Maybe there's one Hark a Vagrant comic where it's just the Great Gatsby, and they're telling Nick, they're like, you can't fuck with us. We're old money. And he's like, how old? And she's like, so old as balls. That always stuck with me. This is apparently the National Park Service Ranger office. Neat. Yeah, the battlefield that I was in is technically a national park. You can't like camp there or anything, but you can camp on the other side of that forest, which is where we did camp last night, Newport News Campground. Which I'll say I wasn't necessarily disappointed because I didn't have high expectations. Our plan was just go out and camp. But it definitely was not one of the better camping experiences, just simply because of how many bugs there were. Like, I knew there'd be bugs. I really underprepared for like the volume and density of bugs there was going to be. I just kind of forgot how bad it could be. Because I've been walking around the lakes by my house where there's bugs, you know, but I hadn't really been getting bit that badly. I just kind of took it for granted, whatever. But when you stand still in a place, the bugs all come to you. So I've got bites all the fuck over both my legs right now, which is a little exhausting. It kind of like takes a little bit of energy out of you to constantly be feeling like this weird kind of tug at your legs. Anyway, let's fucking walk into this mysterious grove. Feeling very Dark Souls back here. I can't tell if this is like private property. There's just stuff back here, but this isn't like a house. It's clearly abandoned, and but it's got like gardening tools outside of it. Danger pesticide storage area. Oh, there's historical signs over here. This is definitely some kind of managed old shit. Let's check it out. The Poor Potter of Yorktown. There's one poor potter's work of coarse earthenware, which is of so little consequence that I dare say there hath not been 20 shillings worth less of that commodity imported since it was set up than there was before. Although Yorktown is best known for its pivotal role during the Revolution, a much quieter revolution was taking place by 1720. At that time, entrepreneur William Rogers built one of America's first and most complex pottery factories to supply the needs of colonists typically dependent on British wares. As the British Crown generally prohibited colonial manufacture of domestic goods, no wonder we fucking went to war, Rogers' factory is among the first American attempts to gain economic independence from Great Britain. Despite operating his pottery contrary to laws and regulations, Roger apparently had the approval of Virginia's royal governor, who was responsible for protecting British trade interests. Beginning with the series of official reports to the Lord of the Board Trade in 1732, Lieutenant Governor William Gooch referred to a poor potter in Yorktown. Gooch may have used the term poor to minimize the threat of competition with British potters and merchants. William Rogers was anything but poor. What a fucking badass. I want to be exactly like this dude. Except unless he owned slaves, in which case I want to be nothing like him at all. But If all he did was make cool pottery and subvert the government and call himself poor while being rich, I would love to be like that. William Rogers' story may have gone untold had it not been for several chance archaeological discoveries. In the 50s, archaeologists identified ceramic fragments as being locally made instead of imported. Conclusive evidence of a factory came later when bits and pieces of kiln furniture associated with pottery-making kilns were found. Historical research led to the identity of William Rogers, the poor potter of Yorktown. However, the exact location of the factory remained unknown until 1966 when archaeologists located a large waster pit on Lot 51. Further archaeology from 1966 to 1981 revealed the extent and scope of William Rogers' factory. In the future, the site may reveal new information on the form and workings of the pottery factory. So this is still being researched. This is relatively new information, y'all. You got a glazed porringer and a pan. I don't know if I can go in there, but... Whoa, it's like a whole dugout pit down there. I want to go in there. God damn it. Are they open? They're not open, are they? No. Locked door. It looks awesome in there. I really want to see it. Look, can you tell? Look, you see? Look at that. Oh, I can actually see it better through the camera for some reason. That looks fucking awesome. I want to go in there. In 1966, archaeologists discovered a large circular pit filled with discarded pottery from William Rogers' kiln. Wood-fired kilns often produced warped and damaged pots with up to 50% of the kiln's contents not suitable for sale. Perfect wares were considered firsts. Wares that had minor flaws were considered seconds, thirds, or sometimes even fourths. Totally unusable wares were called wasters. Fired wasters could not be recycled and were thrown away. Archaeological evidence suggests William Rogers put some of his wasters to good use. In 1934, Rogers was appointed surveyor of the landing streets and causeways in Yorktown and apparently made the best of his position, repairing the colonial streets with his discarded wares. Wow. So whatever pots he fucked up, he used to help rebuild the roads and shit. This guy ruled. This guy obviously fucking ruled. This Bill Rogers dude. Half a pint tavern mug. That's a cute mug. I want to drink out of that mug. It looks cute. Alright, they did it. Gang, they did it. They America'd really hard here. This might be the place that's America'd the hardest ever. This chat is now Goblin chat. What's going on in here? Y'all talking about completely other shit? Call himself poor while being rich, average lefty streamer. Yeah, sounds right. There was an Apple TV exclusive movie called Palmer that I pirated. It was called Palmer, starring Justin Timberlake. It was a pretty moving flick about an ex-convict who just got out of jail. Okay. There's that show Central Park, one of the other shows made by the Bob's Burgers guys. I'll have to check that out sometimes because I like Bob's Burgers and their other show, A Good Aunt. I've never heard of A Good Aunt. I know Central Park, my friend who watches lots of American cartoons, flipping loves that show. The little moment in our Discord are just sending us songs and stuff. Well, maybe I'll check that out. I watched the whole first season of Bob's Burgers back when it came out, and I remember enjoying it, but I never really kept up with it since, and every time I've caught it on TV, I have not enjoyed it. So I kind of just decided, probably can leave that one aside. Any of y'all watch Crapopolis? That was a show that Bird really liked. That's, I think it's still airing its second season or something. I don't know if it's a Netflix or I think it's an Amazon show, but it's a Dan Harmon creation of some sort, I think, where he's involved in it. But it's about the first Greek city, a guy who's appointed himself king and created civilization, basically. His mom is like a Greek goddess. His dad is like a monster chimera thing, and his brother is like a fish in a fish tank, but he's a scientist, so he built himself a way to like have art, like a basically a simple mecha. Yeah, it's a cute show. If you're into Greek history, almost certainly you can get a kick out of it. Crypopolis is by the animators of Has Been Hotel. Really? I had no idea about that. It doesn't look anything like it, so that's, you know, shows a lot of range, I guess. Say Bob's has gotten better over time. I mean, I've only ever, the last time I remember seeing it was like 5 years ago in like a hospital waiting room when I was in the worst possible headspace. So probably was not a good time to be judging comedy. I just remember catching a Simpsons and Bob's Burgers back to back and like just being really like about the whole thing. But you know, I was in very dire circumstances, so. And that's the last time I remember even seeing any Bob's Burgers. Well, I suppose I should probably find my way back to the car. My battery's gonna start getting low, and I unthinkingly drifted pretty far away. I'm probably like a solid mile away from the car at this point, so I should probably start heading that direction. Luckily, it's not very difficult to navigate this town because it's fucking tiny and on the ocean. Well, on the river, rather. Yeah, H. John Benjamin's voice is incredible. Definitely one of the first voice actors I became a huge fan of because he was Coach McGurk in Home Movies, and then he was Cerberus in The Venture Bros. And so I had known him for that. And then, obviously, he became Archer and Bob at like almost the same time. And after that, it was like, okay, now H. John Benjamin's voice is fucking inescapable. I remember having seen the first episode of John Benjamin Has a Van, and at the time it made me too uncomfortable. But that was before I was into like uncomfortable comedy, really. So I would bet it's probably a lot funnier to me now. Apparently that's where Nathan Fielder, that's his name, right? Apparently he wrote for John Benjamin Has a Van. He was a part of it. Now I hear John Benjamin's voice every single day in a fucking Progressive commercial or something, playing a pigeon, talking about how much he likes Halle Berry. Have y'all seen this commercial? It's like every day. John Benjamin as a pigeon. Archer just came out with a season, I guess, where Archer's like in a coma and he's hallucinating himself as a 1940s detective. So it's like a whole season of Archer as a 1940s detective. Seems kind of cute. My biggest problem with Archer is it's very repetitive. Like, I watched the first 3.5 seasons, I think. And I had the, I think actually buying the book kind of ruined it for me, the How to Archer book. Because, like, I was reaching a point where I was kind of feeling like, okay, this show's kind of feels like it's spinning its wheels a little bit, like it's making the same jokes. But, like, a big part of what makes the show work is the chemistry between the characters and then bouncing off of one another. The How to Archer book is just pure Archer. It's like, what would the show be if nobody else was in it? And it's so much worse. And it kind of made me like, oh man, like this show, like if you pulled any aspect of it away from the rest of it, it just doesn't work. Like, it needs all of it to work, you know. And even then, it doesn't always quite click. But overall, I think it's pretty solid. What little I've seen of the new season while Bird was watching it while he passed out looked fun. Big old dump truck. I'll get over to the sidewalk side of the road instead of the non-sidewalk side of the road. Check this place out. This was the road I came in on when I had the camera on the dash heading down towards the water right before I parked. Some kind of commemoration here. The home of Nicholas Marchal, the adventurous Huguenot. I don't even know what the hell a Huguenot is. It looks like a difficult driveway. Ah. I need to get something to eat and drink. I'm getting hungry and thirsty. I've been walking around too much. Y'all, who wants to pay for my lunch? I'm not going to an expensive sushi place. Actually, help me decide where I should go eat. That's a good idea. And, you know, there's I guess just pick a type of food. I'll tell you if that exists around here. Hello. See that guy? Can't tell it's like a moth. Mothy moth. He ain't moving at all. We are absolutely not eating anywhere in Yorktown. I will be leaving Yorktown to go get food. There's no food here that is at a price I would be willing to pay for it. I'm sure the food's probably fine, but money ain't like that right now, you know? I need new shoes. I ain't about to try to spend my shoe money on goddamn overpriced sushi. So we're gonna find somewhere that I can afford to eat. And get some new shoes later at some point. I guess it would be different if it was possible. Well, it is possible, because I have a Cash App and Venmo. If you sent me money through one of those, I would get it immediately and I would be able to spend that money. But if you were just super chatting me the money to go eat at an expensive restaurant, I won't actually have that money for quite some time, and I'll just have a big hole in my bank account until then, you know? That's the main reason I wouldn't want to do a stunt like that, because I'm sure there's somebody who's thinking, well, I'm not going to pay you at all unless I can pay you to go to that fancy restaurant. And to that I say, simply, I would need the money to be already in my pocket before I could even do that. But, you know, I'd rather we were all just reasonable here. We figured out where I can eat that doesn't cost $22. And we continued the super chat fund in service of my shoe replacement. Eventual victory over that anime snob and having more money. And, you know, ending the financial freefall I've been in for 5 years. We can do all of that in one fell swoop. We just gotta not be ridiculous about eating sushi in Yorktown, you know? We have to do it together. We all gotta work together to not eat sushi in Yorktown. I mean, we're passing it right now. It's right there. That's the expensive sushi place. Look at how tiny it is. You know how embarrassing it would be to stream in that place? Very embarrassing is the answer, because it's tiny. Apparently there's a restroom over here, and I kind of got to use the bathroom. But I'm not sure what I should do with my phone before I go in there. You know what? I'll hold off. It looks like they're cleaning it. I'll just wait till I get somewhere else. We're almost back at the car, gang. I still don't know where to go. Just eat your old shoes, problem solved. Used to watch your video essay on Serial Experiments Lane back in 2016. Really loved it. Thank you. Not a lot of people watch that video series, but I'm glad you liked it. I thought it was good too. If you want more anime analysis content, you should subscribe to the We Watch Anime channel. That's the only place I'm doing it anymore. This channel is now for shit posts, live streams, and cult indoctrination. And also people figuring out where I'm gonna go eat. I don't need an exact place. a genre of food will suffice. I just need somebody who's capable of being decisive to come in here and make some decisions for me. There's like an empty vape pod on the ground next to this van. Oy. Subway? No, come on. Chick-fil-A? No, too far. What else have you read? Jollibee? There is one in Virginia Beach. It would take a while to get there, though. You have zero clue what I enjoy? Anything. I'll eat whatever. It's more about affordability, and if there happens to be one nearby. There's a Jollibee on this coast, but it's a solid hour away from me right now, so we're not doing that one. I agree that Jollibee chicken is greater than Chick-fil-A, though. I'm a big fan. $5 biggie bag from Wendy's? We could do that. There is no White Castle here. White Castle starts a couple states north / west. Wendy's or Taco Bell or whatever, we will have to literally leave. Yorktown is tiny. It is a tiny little, heavily managed, incredibly rich town. Now, outside of Yorktown proper, where we are now, the Yorktown area also encompasses a smaller city, which is where we're going to be going. I can't remember the fucking name of it even, because like your address, if you live there, is Yorktown. But it's not. It's like Yorktown is technically just this little tiny. Like we literally just encircled all of Yorktown. I walked to the end of Yorktown and back just now. In terms of like going inland, I mean. So that's how small it is. You pretty much saw the whole thing with me just now. But yeah, I'm really thirsty, so we're gonna go find something. We're gonna drive around and find something. Man, you're probably gonna wait for me to leave because that was the only open spot. You better take it. Nope, he's gonna drive around to the other side to confirm for himself what I already showed to be true. Whatever. Alright. Let's get the fuck out of Yorktown and go find somewhere I can afford to eat. So dancing, gonna put you in a trance. With that body, with that body, with that body. Make sure you don't hurt nobody. I said, hey, 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 fill the body with a burning desire. Yeah, get up off that thing. Dance things with me. Come on, girl, let me rock the world. That's what this fucking town is called. We're leaving Yorktown and heading into Grafton, which is still considered Yorktown, kind of. Hey, we're in America's historic triangle, the Williamsburg, Jamestown, Yorktown area, according to a sign I just saw. Just passed a sign that said keep right, but there is clearly ahead of us a truck with a giant go left arrow on the back of it. So maybe they haven't sorted this situation out yet. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. Oh, when everything I'll take karaoke requests while I'm driving also, by the way. It's a song I know. Let's go, motherfucker. Eminem. Alright. I created a monster because nobody wants to see Martian no more. They want shady on chopped liver. Well, if you want shady, this will I'll give you a little bit of weed, which is a lot of niggas. If I get that a jump start, my heart could get in the shot when they get shot at the hospital. But the doctor would not cooperating with the rocket. The devil is operating. Where did the song start debating? Well, I'm back over the rag and ovulating. You know that you get a job at Cheney, but your husband's our problem's complicating. So the FCC won't let me be, and let me be me, so let me see. Try to shut me down on MTV, but it feels so empty without me. So whatever it is, come with a dip, fuck that, come on your lips, so your tits and get ready. This shit's about to get heavy. Just settled all my lawsuits, fuck you to me. Now this looks like a job for me, so everybody just follow me, because you need a little controversy, because I feel so empty without me. Little hellions, kids feeling rebellious, embarrassed, parents still listen to Elvis. Start feeling like prison is helpless, and someone comes along and they're visioning yells, bitch, I'm prison it. I'm visionary, prison is scary, cause under a revolution, polluting the airways, a rebel. So just up here above the basket, the fact that I got everybody kissing my ass, and it's a disaster, it's a catastrophe that you can see, it's a damage on my ass, you asked for me, well I'm back. Entering up under your skin, entering up under your skin like a splinter, the center of attention, back with the winter rabbit arresting, the best things is wrestling, if it's sting in your kids' ears and nesting, struggling and underplayed for the tension, soon as someone mentions me, here's my 10 cents, but 2 cents is free, a new cent, 2 cent, you sent for me. Well, this looks like a job for me, so everybody just follow me, because we need a little controversy, because it feels so empty without me. Chris Kirkpatrick, you can get your ass kicked. Wait, how does that verse start? Moby, you can get stomped by Obi. Fuck, I can't remember how that verse starts. Whatever, it doesn't matter. What's the next request? Oh, a tisket, a tasket. I'll go tit for tat with anybody who's talking this shit, that shit. Chris Kirkpatrick, you can get your ass kicked worse than this little Limp Bizkit bastards. A Moby, you can get stomped by Obi, you 36-year-old bot. In fact, blow me, you don't know me, you're too old, let go, it's over. Nobody listens to techno and let's go. Just give me the signal, I'll be there with a whole list full of new insults. I've been dope, suspenseful with a pencil ever since Prince turned himself into a symbol. Sometimes it just seems everybody only wants to discuss me. This must mean I'm disgusting. Well, let's just be, I'm just obscene. Well, I'm not the first king to controversy. I am the worst thing since Elvis Presley to do like music, so officially could use it to get myself wealthy. Hey, it's a concept that works. 20 million other white rappers immerse, but I might have many fish in the sea. This would be so empty without me. Immerse, not emerge. 20 million other white rappers emerge. Sing some Kendrick. A doobie to the face, I fuck that. 12 bottles in the case, I fuck that. 2 pills and a half weight, fuck that. Got a high tolerance when your age don't exist. Man, I swim dog, tripping up the shit again. Pick 'em up, then I send 'em in. Go water, then I order someone to bring 'em back again. Hoping to take the pain away from the feeling that it's good today. You know when you're about a second and you feel like nobody can relate, cause you are. But don't know, marijuana, endorphins make you stronger. I'm in the house, party tripping up my generation, sipping cough syrup like it's water. Never no pancakes in the kitchen, man. No one of our lives is caught up in the daily superstition that the world is about to end. Who gives a fuck? We never listen unless it comes with an 808 melody and some hoes. PlayStation is a trait. Technology got my soul. Looking around and all I see is a big crowd that's product of me, and they're probably relatives relevant for a registry. Yo, her president is black. She black too, purple label on a tap. The tap is light blue. She take it straight to the head. Then she look at me. She got a DHD. I see a McDonald's, a Bojangles, and a Wendy. 8 doobies to the face, fuck that, 12 bottles in the case, and RBs, fuck 12 and a half weight, and fuck that, got a high tolerance when your age don't exist, like whoa. And then she started feeling herself like no one else in this apartment. Beg your pardon, no, I rap, baby. How old are you? She said 22, I said 23. Okay, then we are crack, baby. Damn, why you say that? I said we go drink that. I'ma tell you later. Just tell your neighbors and the police relax. He stood up, close the blinds, towards the stream, double time, turned it back where we reside. And she said right between the lines, yep, hoping to get close enough when the light turned out. And I thought that she just might open up with new bolts at the ground. Everybody and I know the both of us really in the mood now. Let's know that you can do now. Somebody walked into the town of that Bay Area kush. She looked at me, then looked at it, then she grabbed it, then she said, get it understood. You know why we crack babies? Because we wanted the 80s to 80 HD crazy. Ain't do we do the face, so fuck that. 12 bottles in the case. Fuck that, 2 pills in a half weight. Fuck that, got a high tolerance when your age don't exist. Like whoa, whoa, whoa. How's that? I did just pass by a Wendy's, but I don't know if I want to get Wendy's. I'm going a little deeper into town. I also know there's another Wendy's in town, so this whole town is just one long stretch of road that connects Yorktown to Newport News. Amish Furniture Direct. They got a bear. A long, long time ago, in a galaxy far away, Naboo was under an attack. And I thought me and Qui-Gon Jinn could talk the Federation into maybe cutting them a little slack. Their response, it didn't thrill us. They locked the doors and tried to kill us. We escaped from that gas and met Jar Jar and Boss Nass. We took a gun from the scene and we went to Theed to see the Queen. We all wound up on Tatooine. That's where we found this boy. My, this Anakin guy. Maybe Vader someday later. Now he's just a small fry. He left his home and kissed his mommy goodbye, singing soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. Soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. I'm almost at Wawa. Let's go to Wawa. Roly Poly Oly theme song. I only remember that it had the words Roly Poly Oly in it. Did you know the junkyard slave isn't even old enough to shave? But he can use the force, they say. Oh, do you see him hitting on the queen? Though he's just 9 and she's 14. Yeah, he's probably gonna marry her someday. Well, I know he built C-3PO, and I heard how fast his pod can go. They interviewed the kid. Oh, training they forbid, because Yoda sensed in him much fear. And Qui-Gon said, now listen here, just stick it in your pointy ear. I still will teach this boy. Oh shit, the phone. My, this Anakin guy. Maybe later, someday later, now he's just a small fry. He left his home and gave her mommy goodbye, singing soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. Soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. What the fuck is going on out here? What in the name of fucking God am I looking at here? No tax? Okay, I agree. Compliments of 101st American, or no, Air Cav. Compliments of 101st Air Cav. Hold on. What in the fuck am I looking at? What is this? Well, that's the most fucking schizophrenic truck I've seen in quite some time. Alright, so here's what I'm gonna do, right? I'm gonna go into this Wawa and get myself some drink and food, and then I'll come back and do more stream. I'm just gonna end the stream, actually. Oh wait, Gary always gave me $2. Any Weird Al song you know by heart. What the fuck? I did not even see that super chat. I swear to God, I did not see you ask me to do a Weird Al song. I just started doing it. Maybe somehow I saw it out of the corner of my eye and subconsciously caught the signal. I did not. I literally was just sitting there and was like, what should I sing next? I kind of feel like that Star Wars song right now. I must have somehow peripherally saw out of the corner of my eye that you asked for Weird Al, because there's no fucking way. That's way too deep mind for me to really believe that could even be possible. All right. That's funny. This has been a cool stream. I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to take a piss. I'm going to get something to drink. I'm going to get some food. I'm going to figure out where the fuck I'm going. And then I'll continue the stream once we get there. All right? So I'll see you all in maybe half an hour.